All right. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome you to the first series of Africa Focus webinar on harnessing new technologies, data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning for enhanced national statistics. To kick us off this morning is our Senior Director of Programs, Davis Adieno. I would like to welcome Davis Adieno to please come on and welcome and introduce the global partnership to our audience. Over to you, Davis.
Yeah, thank you, Victor, and thank you everyone for joining us for this webinar. And I can see the numbers are growing, which means that we have more participants actually joining us. And so as you do that, I will make a very quick introduction to the global partnership. But I'd like to thank you for taking time to join us for this Africa webinar series, where we're exploring how we can harness new technologies, data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence to enhance national statistics. We, as the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development Data, are a global network using data to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, but supporting other development agendas across the globe, looking at how we can improve lives, how we can fight inequality, and how we can promote environmental sustainability. We work on three main areas, which is the timeliness of data, ensuring that participants, partners, networks, collaborators have the methods, they have the capacity to access timely methods to produce data, manage it, and also effectively use it for decision making. We also look at inclusion in data, where we focus primarily on how we can bring communities that have been previously left out of data into how, participating in both the production, having their voices being part of it, and more importantly, discussing with them how that data can ensure that the issues they highlight are actually included. And lastly is accountable data governance, which is basically the normative frameworks around how data is produced and managed, ensuring that issues around privacy, concerns around data sharing and how it's applied, and bringing citizen voices into actual data production and use is factored in. And I think all these things are quite interlinked. And today, as we discuss this potential of data science and machine learning and AI in transforming how National Statistical Offices can improve efficiency, work much more effectively, collaborate, wrangle big data sets, we have really lined up an impressive line of speakers. We'll be hearing from Oliver Chinganya, who is the director at the Africa Center for Statistics at the UN Economic Commission for Africa. We'll also be hearing from Professor Sam Enim, one of our champions across the region and globally, and who's the government statistician for Ghana Statistical Service. We'll also hear from our partners, Jeffrey Levine, director of the Worldwide AI Initiative. I hope he's joined us. And we'll hear from other partners, especially Mola from ECA, Victor, my colleague, who's going to speak shortly, and Omar Saidu, who will also participate in moderating some of the sessions. So this is going to be quite interactive, and we welcome your participation, and thank you so much for being here with us. Over to you, Victor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Davis, for your warm welcome. And let me quickly say again that I want to acknowledge the existing protocols just to save time. From my end, I'm grateful to everyone for joining us for the first session of our Africa Focus webinar series, which would also be enriched by global insights and exchanges. We don't intend that it's just purely Africa, but we'll be bringing in, insights and exchanges from across the world. This series would serve as a platform for data and statistical professionals from NSOs, government agencies, NGOs, academia, the growing startup ecosystem, and the broader data ecosystem across the continent. As the inaugural event, it marks the beginning of many discussions that will delve into cutting-edge topics, addressing challenges, opportunities, and advancements in data for development and SDGs in Africa. So today's session will focus on the transformative role of advanced data technologies in national statistical system. We will be hearing from some NSOs, some statistical offices, as they showcase their use of data science, machine learning, and AI, alongside discussions about the challenges, opportunities, and best practices in adopting these innovations. This series in the long run aims to foster collaboration between NSOs, data scientists in the continent, and tech partners to boost the continent's data and statistical capabilities. That's our hope. And so the first session today would feature keynote speeches, followed by case studies from the statistical offices from Kenya, Ghana, Rwanda, and also from the UN Economic Commission for Africa, which then leads onto a panel discussion. So participants, just be at ease. You will have ample opportunities to engage, through questions and answers, and also share your reflections throughout the event. At this point, we will be kicking off the session one. I would like to introduce the moderator for our first session. He is Mola Asmari. He is the Data Innovation Lead at the UN Economic Commission for Africa, where he works in the Statistical Development, Data Innovation, and Outreach section. With expertise in data analysis, modernization of statistical processes, and dissemination, Mola has played a very key role in advancing data innovation across Africa. He holds a master's in information science and a bachelor in statistics from Addis Ababa University, and has been involved in several initiatives to leverage digital tools for census modernizations and improve data quality in the continent. Please help me welcome Mola Asmari. Over to you, Mola.
Thanks, Victor. I was wondering if Oliver was going to speak before Mola.
Yeah, so Mola will bring them on.
Yes. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Victor, for the warm introduction. Thank you, Davis, also for the welcoming remarks. My name is Mola. Again, I'm going to chair this session, the potential of data science, machine learning, and AI in national statistics offices. I'd like to welcome you all to this exciting new webinar series, the inaugural. I'm happy to be part of this first session aimed at supporting national statistics offices and also the broader and the expanded data ecosystem. In today's world of big data, and national statistics offices are recognizing the potential of tools such as data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence to improve the statistical production processes. This series will help us equip with some of the skills and the knowledge required to explore these innovative data tools, share experiences, and engage with peers and other experts across Africa and also the continent. This session is in collaboration with ECA, where I work with Oliver, my director. It provides a unique platform for sharing. This is one of the many platforms that are running, but the field in data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence is wide open. They like and to suggest other also partners to come in and share their experiences and expertise across the field. And we would like also to build a critical mass of expertise in this domain so that we can improve timely, quality, and more frequent data to inform policy and decision-making. As you all know, the tools in artificial intelligence have transformative power. The way we collect data, we process, analyze, and also bringing insights that we've never been able to do using the traditional ways of processing data in the official statistical domain. We will also look into the practical application of these tools later in the sessions. But before that, I'd like also to introduce my director, Oliver, who is the first speaker. He's the director of the African Center for Statistics at United Nations Economic Commission for Africa, where he leads initiatives such as AI and many others to enhance the statistical systems across Africa, with extensive experience at the African Development Bank, at the International Monetary Fund, and also at national level, the Zambian Statistical Office. He is a strong advocate of partnership, innovation, and capacity building to improve data quality on the continent. His focus includes leveraging statistics for sustainable development, fostering collaboration, and promoting data-driven policy making across the continent. We have also Professor Anim. He doesn't need introduction. Davies also introduced him earlier. He was appointed in March 2019. He's a professor of economics with expertise in micro-development economics and applied macroeconometrics, with over 20 years of teaching experience at the University of Cape Coast and at international institutions. Professor Anim has contributed to significant development in data quality statistical systems in Ghana. His presence is felt, even though it looks short, but his presence is felt across the continent and also at a global level. Under his leadership, the Ghana Statistical Service has enhanced data-driven policymaking and implemented innovative projects like the Data Repository Center. Professor Anim holds degrees from University of Cape Coast, University of Ghana, and University of Manchester. We have also another speaker, Mr. Samuel Afriye is the emerging markets and AI nations lead at NVIDIA, where he focuses on AI-driven initiatives and market expansion strategies. Based in New York City metropolitan area, Samuel plays a key role in developing AI capabilities and fostering collaboration across emerging markets. His works helps drive the adoption of NVIDIA's advanced technology in these regions, facilitating innovation and growth in AI ecosystem. We have diverse speakers from official statistical system at national level, at international level, also outside of the official statistical spectrum. So I like to introduce Oliver Chingania to take the floor and give us his remarks. Over to you, Oliver.
Thank you, Moland, and thank you those that have joined here. I don't know if you're able to hear me and to see me. Are you able to hear me? Good. First of all, let me thank the organizers of this very, very interesting initiative on collaborative the harnessing the technology, data science, machine learning, and AI to enhance national statistics. I think a lot has already been said in terms of the importance of this. But let me recognize people that are part of this platform, the heads of National Statistical Offices that are here, representatives of government agencies, our partners, particularly for those of the global partnership, including NVIDIA itself, colleagues from the development and also private sectors. May I just say, distinguished colleagues and participants that are here. So it is indeed a privilege to address you today about the transformative power of the advanced technologies of national statistical system and the future of data for sustainable development in Africa. As we witness the rapid evolution of data technologies, It is essential not only to embrace these changes, but to lead in advancing data-driven development for our countries. I'll focus on three critical areas, if you like, or pillars that will help us drive this transformation that everyone is talking about. The first one is about embracing the innovation in data technologies. So the heads of National Statistical Offices, and I really want to implore this, that the heads of National Statistical Offices and relevant government departments must adopt new technologies like data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. These tools, far from being just buzzwords, but have the power to revolutionize how we collect, process, and analyze data, and use insights for policymaking. And artificial intelligence and machine learning, for instance, can automate routine tasks, improving the timeliness and accuracy of national statistics. Countries have already done, or rather shown, how automation can cut processing time by about 90%, producing real-time statistical reports with a minimum annual manual input. So the National Statistical Offices can lead, for example, integrating these technologies in decision-making processes, thereby showcasing the impact of the artificial intelligence as well as the data science to show their operations across all sectors within the national statistical system. The second part I want to talk to is about investing in skills development. I believe that adopting technology is not enough. We must also invest in building the skills of our statisticians, data analysts, and decision makers. This requires partnership, and I think the reason that we are here working together to see how we can be able to achieve this particular goal. So collaboration with academic institutions is very critical. I think we should just go beyond just academic institutions, but also with the private sector. In this case, Africa's startups ecosystem and the tech firms will help build the local expertise that we all require. Africa is rich with young talent, and there is no reason why our continent cannot be at the forefront of data innovation. Equipping national statistical staff with the skills to harness artificial intelligence and machine learning will not only improve statistical outputs, but also empower a generation of data professionals, positioning Africa as a leader in the data-driven development. The third pillar or component that I would like to talk to is fostering sustainable collaboration. I want to believe that fostering collaboration is key, but then the National Statistical Offices must work closely with the government agencies, the private sector, and international organizations to explore artificial intelligence-driven solutions. The private sector, particularly tech companies, bring innovative solutions to modernize statistical processes, while international organizations offer guidance and resources for successful technology adoption. But collaboration is not just about resource sharing, because many times that we're talking about, maybe it's just about resources, but it's about creating an ecosystem where data, technology, and policy align seamlessly. Together, we can address the pressing challenges for from health to education with scalable data-driven solutions. So basically, I want to think that, as we adopt artificial intelligence and emerging technologies, ethical considerations are crucial. Data privacy, security, and transparency must be at the forefront to maintain public trust. If citizens do not trust how their data is used, our efforts will definitely be undermined. Moreover, scalability is vital. We need solutions that are cutting edge, as we already heard, I think, from Victor that did mention that, and yet adaptable to local context. Technologies must be sustainable, able to be maintained, and scalable effectively over time to meet our diverse needs. So in conclusion, again, I want to come back to the heads of national statistical offices, because I think they are key across the continent. And that these must really make bold steps to embrace the data innovation. And this particular time, I think that we as statisticians, and particularly heads of national statistics, we cannot afford really to fold our hands while technology is coming in, because that is the future, and that's what is going to transform this continent. So we are at the threshold of a new era where data will increasingly drive decision-making. By adopting artificial intelligence and machine learning, investing in skills development, and fostering collaboration, we can ensure that our statistical systems are modernized and equipped to tackle tomorrow's challenges. Together, we can build an Africa where data empowers development and evidence-based policymaking leads the way. let us seize this opportunity to lead the future of data innovation for our continent. Thank you very much. Over to you, Mola.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Oliver, for this introduction. Again, I would like also to agree with you that embracing innovation and data technology is crucial. National Statistics Offices should adopt AI and machine learning to not only to use big data sources, also to automate their statistical production processes to improve timeliness and accuracy of the data they are producing, and also to speak not only historical data, to speak real-time or near real-time issues the countries are facing to decide and plan and formulate policies. We also need to invest in skills development, which is vital. Again, thank you for raising that. And we need to collaborate, as you rightly said, with academia, other private companies and tech firms, as we have now NVIDIA with us, to build expertise needed to leverage these technologies. Again, fostering sustainable collaboration between NSOs, other government departments and private sector, and also international organizations like ourselves is key to scale up the AI, machine learning, data science-driven solution for implementing data ecosystem. Thank you for that. With that note, I would like to invite Professor Anim to also give us his remarks, and we look forward to hearing you, Prof. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mola, for this opportunity, and my deepest appreciation to the organizers of this event. Indeed, it is a unique opportunity to share with you my reflections on this subject matter of new technologies, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and data science. Colleagues within this community kindly accept my warm greetings for the day. Colleagues, we risk having this conversation outside the development space. So I would want to start by providing a context to why we need to reflect on these things by sharing with you some stylized facts from my perspective. Secondly, I know the transformational power of new technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science would definitely be underscored severally in this webinar session. So the approach that I want to adopt for this reflection is more on the soft side, the approaches that we need to take when we want to really onboard data science, artificial intelligence, and the new technologies. So as I indicated, I would not want us to risk having this conversation outside the development space. So I'm going to start with some what I call context on contemporary happenings in the development space. So 5 quick issues for our consideration. The first has to do with the fact that, and as I call it, they are stylized facts, so we really cannot do anything about it. We are living with them. There has been increased human-led and natural occurrences in the last decade. And these increased human-led and natural occurrences has really complicated the achievement of development targets. And this is demonstrated with the evidence that we get constantly from ECA. The second stylized fact, in my view, has to do with the fact that the fast-paced technological innovations are increasingly crowding out the effect of capital and labor in the economic growth development trajectory. For those of us who did some basic economics, the first thing you do with factors of production is that production is influenced by labor and capital. But as I indicated, now, if you're talking about what drives growth and development, they are really the fast-paced technological innovations that are driving growth. The third stylized fact that I think is important we reflect on having this conversation is the fact that countries continue to receive variations in the impact of these increased human-led and natural occurrences. And this is practically because of the geoeconomic and political fragmentations that we've seen both within countries and across the globe. Again, what we are seeing is that there are varying levels of resilience and shocks that countries are facing. And thirdly, there are distributional variations in the distributional effect. So although the World Economic Outlook shows some stability in the next decade, this stability will not be the same across countries. We don't just have to talk about new technologies, data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning when we really don't understand our development context and the trajectory that we have. The fourth issue that I want to emphasize is the fact that we all appreciate evidence-based decision-making, and Oliver, thank you for highlighting that fact. But again, this has become more challenging because now there's data available, there's misinformation, there's disinformation. Now we are using different analytical approaches that we are not too sure if they are consistent with the theories that underpin the statistics that we all went through. And the last thing that has become imperative and we need to rethink are the theories of change, because now the theories of change have been very complicated given, again, the increased human-led and the natural occurrences. So definitely it's about time we contextualize and deepen our engagement with the scope and transmission mechanisms of these four areas that I always talk about in terms of the value chain, that is data, statistics, policy, and sustainable development. If we don't reflect deeply and rethink the theories of change and understanding on these four areas, I think we're going to have challenges jumping into a conversation on new technologies, data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. The second thing that I want to reflect on, I'm conscious about time, is the scope and custodian of these new technologies. Again, these are stylized facts. We cannot run away from them. The scope of the new technologies remain wide, they are undefined and unpredictable, which means that catching up is always a challenge if you're not moving as fast as these new technologies are evolving. The second issue around the scope and the custodian has to do with the fact that the global and national governance, regulation, and the nature of benefits of these new technologies remain very nascent. And when I saw the topic harnessing, I asked myself, are we harnessing the threats of these new technologies, or we are harnessing the opportunities associated with it? And this is because the governance, the regulation, and the nature of benefits remain nascent. I mean, if you look at the effect of employment of artificial intelligence across developed and developing countries, it has varying effects. The third has to do with the fact that national statistical systems, and for that matter, offices, are not at the frontiers of the discussion of these new technologies and analytics. And this is a real concern, because if we really want to embrace this and we are not at the frontiers of the conversation, then there's a challenge. Fourthly is the fact that the spread and configurations of the custodians of these new technologies presents challenges to national statistical systems. And what do I mean by that? Where Google is cited, where X is cited, where other social media that are now leading the frontiers of new data are cited, present challenges for contractual arrangements and the performance of the core mandate of national statistical systems. Having said this, the discourses between statistical theories, principles, and, as I said, contemporary analytical approaches are yet to be concluded. I mean, if you look at the estimations of fundamental principles of official statistics, I keep asking myself whether these new approaches, the extent to which they have some margins of errors that are not consistent with an agreeable, acceptable margin of error in our routine statistical work, are a concern or otherwise. But as I said, these discussions on the compromises are yet to be concluded. With all these things, one would ask, what are the implications for the role of national statistical systems? There are 5 things that I quickly would run through. First is that the number of stakeholders within the statistical system has increased. So now you cannot talk about the statistical system leaving those who are the frontiers of these new technologies, and indeed the holders of the data that we are using to transform the national statistical system. This expansion in the number of the stakeholders has led to conflicting and competing roles. And if we need to address it in a strategic way so that we can sustain and also ensure that we are providing official statistics. Complications have arisen from 3 perspectives. How statistics is generated, which source of data are we using, what is the cost, what is the burden, what is the rigor, whom are we excluding? So how data is generated in this space of AI, machine learning, artificial intelligence has become more complicated. Secondly, the choice and practical utility of official statistics also has become complicated. And lastly, the stewardship of it has become challenged. Indeed, I raised a very controversial argument by saying that the current structure of national statistical systems face existential threat. Amid all these sort of downsides that I've highlighted, there is the need to reflect the opportunities. As I said, we are harnessing the opportunities, and this is what is giving us the framework to reposition the relevance of national statistical systems. I see I have a couple of minutes to go. Once we want to do this, there are certain things that we have to think about. The first has to do with increased productivity of statistical production. And this can only be done when we are mindful of our growth trajectory as national statistical systems. Definitely, this is calling for a repackaging of the human and IT capacity and infrastructure. And this would give us an opportunity to have a balanced delivery of our mandate. And what I mean by a balanced delivery of our mandate is the value chain that I've talked about. Still, NSOs are focusing more on the data production side of things. But if you think about data, statistics, policy, and sustainable development value chain, NSOs, through this transformation power of artificial intelligence, new technologies, data science, and machine learning, should have a balanced delivery of their mandate. And this can only be done if we restructure our prominence in the area of methodological issues, in the area of properly linking data and statistics to policy and development. Our chances of getting that is thinking about this from a global, regional, new partnership perspectives. And once we do that, or for us to be able to do that, we need to participate very well prominently within the development space. Colleagues, I would end by sharing with you my thoughts. And again, as I said, the soft side of these conversations. And this is what I call the do's for tackling the nitty-gritties of these new technologies, data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. First, we need to be deliberate and deploy a positive aggression in this space. Nobody is waiting for us in this space. It is moving so fast. And as I said, the threat of it is that it's going to increase the imbalances in our growth across different countries. So for us to do this, we need to be deliberate and deploy a positive aggression towards this. If an NSO or a national statistical system at this time is not reflecting and retooling its national strategy for the development of statistics, and it's not reflecting again on its generic statistics business process mapping, then something is gonna miss. This is the time that every NSO, every national statistical system, even if you developed your NSDS last year, the pace of evolution will require you to at least twice every year reflect the evolutions and see how you are repositioning yourself. We did it in Ghana. We developed a data science roadmap. We're doing it for all the other areas that we've talked about. But again, you risk having siloed approaches. So in as much as we advocate for individual roadmaps for all these areas that we're talking about, you need to be conscious in having an integrated roadmap that brings all this together so that the synergies of the opportunities can be harnessed. Last but not the least, two things. Attract new partners. I didn't say form new partners. As an NSO, as a national statistical system, if you want to measure your growth, it's your ability to see that people are approaching you for new technologies, for new data sets that they think will drive what they do. So you need to make sure that your actions is demonstrated by an attraction of new partners, and that gives you a sense of how you are evolving as a national statistical system. And then once you're doing that, it means you are being conscious of the measurement associated with it. Mola, I think I would end here. And once again, thank you so much for the opportunities. And I look forward to the interesting things that are happening across NSOs in the region. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you for this excellent perspective that you brought to the discussion today. The fast evolving landscape at national level, and also its implication and the complexity it brings to ensure the choice and practicality of official statistics. I found that very interesting, and also the looking into the capital and labor issues in terms of productivity, and also the AI data science, how they reshape labor and capital to drive economic growth. I think that is also another perspective that statisticians need to really bring to the table for our policymakers. Again, this and the unpredictability of the technologies, the scope, the fast-pacing innovation that brings also presents threats, as you said, rightly said, and opportunities. So I think these are some of the food for thoughts for us. We can allow the audiences also to come up with questions for Prof to elaborate more. So with this note, I like also to invite our speaker to also bring us perspective from the tech side of the spectrum, as well as also from non-official statistics domain. Some are free. I'm not sure whether I.
Yeah, you're close, sir. Summer Frier.
Frier, okay.
Yes, sir.
Frier, yes. Over to you.
All right, thank you, sir. Hi, everyone. Summer Frier here. So I'm with NVIDIA's Global Public Sector team, also known as AI Nations team. And I wanted to highlight some private sector and also some technology developments that could be beneficial to the audience here. And I also wanted to take us back a little bit and share some learnings we had working with GPSDD as well as UNECA when we signed the MOU to help 12 different countries and some NSOs in digitizing their census processes. So let me share some slides here of sort of an overview of who we are and the program. Can you guys see my screen? Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Awesome, great. So
you can maximize, go to presentation mode. You don't mind, otherwise we're good.
All right, awesome.
Perfect.
Good. So to give you a big overview of NVIDIA and who the global public sector team is, I'm going to go over a few slides to talk about NVIDIA as a full stack company, the technologies we provide for different governments, and then also how our team engages from a policy perspective as well as architecture design, and then also sort of top partnership and also technical training partner for many countries around the world. And then sort of the program perspective for this initiative that we called United AI Alliance with the help of GPSDD again and the UN. And then also some climate programs that we undertake from using our technology to support governments to fight climate change around the world. All right. So this is a very busy slide, but what I want you to get from it is NVIDIA is not just a hardware company. You've probably heard of us in the news as the chip maker or the GPU maker, but NVIDIA is more than that. NVIDIA actually started as a graphics company, and so we used to help visualizations all over the Silicon Valley and across different technology sectors. But in 2010 or 2009, we had a big discovery that the same chips or the same hardware we use for graphics can be used to accelerate computing at a super fast rate that nobody or no one else had discovered before. And this is when the birth of GPU or accelerated computing, as we call it, was born, with the AlexNet model that was analyzing different photo images at the time. And so NVIDIA has a component for high performance computing as well as artificial intelligence computing. And then we also have NVIDIA AI, which is more of our software. And that starts with our basis called CUDA. I don't want to go too into the weeds, but as you can see here, we sort of list the different frameworks that we build our technology upon. So we have technology for 5G and telecoms called Aerial. We have technology for networking called DOCA. And then we have technology for managing all these different infrastructures called Base Command and Fleet Command. And then our RTX, our Omniverse platform, is now our visualization part of the software we provide to different companies. And we have some statistics on the side here. I'm not going to read that to bore you, but let's move on to the next slide. So for how NVIDIA supports different governments and nations, we focus on 6 main capabilities, and it's all listed here. Again, I won't read it because of time, but I can share the slides later on for your own reference, and we can also set up calls to delve into each component here. But I want to focus on data science here. So NVIDIA today has a data science suite called Rapids, and this is what we focused on in the project we did with those 12 nations, that through our partners, Future Tech, we were able to give 6 AI workstations to help start with the digitization of census process. So Rapids is an accelerator. So normally data is put into different warehouses, and sometimes the processes of extracting as well as analyzing data can be very extensive. So Rapids gives you a more accelerated path to getting more sense from your data. Dr. Ani mentioned something that was really keen, was putting in good data, because with these new technologies of machine learning, artificial intelligence, you need good input. Is garbage in, garbage out. So you want to make sure the data you are putting in is very refined and it's the right data to get you the best results. And so this is what Rapids helps data scientists do better. And then we can also look at NVIDIA Data Center here. So NVIDIA Data Center combines different GPUs as well as networking and storage technologies together to give you the most fast platform that will help you from data to results and speeds of time. So we have a saying at NVIDIA that we do everything at the speed of light. We want you to get good data, but at the same time, we want you to not waste days training that data to get more insights to help your nation and your policy making. And another thing that we also help nations with is with upscaling. And we did this actually with AI nations. We did this actually with the United AI Alliance program. We have a platform called Deep Learning Institute, and that side of the house in NVIDIA is where we train data scientists, and we take data scientists from different levels, entry as well as advanced, and we give them the knowledge and also technology-specific training they may need from our own NVIDIA scholars or our own NVIDIA experts. And these courses are provided in a myriad of ways. We have in-person courses that sometimes we pay some instructors to go out and teach different groups the courses at different levels. And then we also have courses that could be taken online, which were what we use for this program. And then we also have some courses that could be a hybrid between the both. And so for United AI, we wanted to focus on some key objectives here. And again, not going to read the slides. I can share it later, but we wanted to help up-level the data science capacity within the different countries we seeded. And then we also wanted to provide hardware as a resource, because we know that hardware is really hard to come by, especially when it comes to GPUs. So we wanted to provide a taste of the hardware via the data science workstations, and then also provide those people that got the hardware the training that came with the technology that they were given. And so we were also doing a lot of tech demonstrations of how the different workstations work. And then we came up with, I think it was between 3 to 5 courses that were relevant to data science, as well as the National Statistical Digitization Project. And we did this by signing, again, the MOUs with the United Nations. And with GPSDD being so gracious, we were able to go into these countries and know the right stakeholders and the right organizations to talk to. And we also worked with some additional partners, being AWS. AWS provides online or cloud resources that has all these compute capabilities I mentioned and more for countries to have access to that don't have the actual hardware within their domains. And then we also worked with another organization called Bentley Systems. They provide more of a visualization and also weather prediction software. And we worked with some labs at MIT to make this happen. And on the continent, we worked with Adenian Labs out of Kenya. And also we had some groups, I believe, from Paraguay as well. But the new segments we now want to focus on more beyond statistics would be climate action and healthcare. Climate prediction is very important when it comes to helping countries plan ahead for disasters, and then also healthcare planning. As we all know, the disruption of COVID is very vital. So if we can help use our technology to assist countries predict the next pandemics that can come, so they put the right healthcare measures in place, that would be amazing. And so this is what we want to do. We have technologies by the name of BioNemo, Parabricks, and others that helps with drug discovery, as well as also disease prediction and then pandemic prediction. So if you can arm countries, or if you can arm data scientists within the continent, these technologies, they can be better prepared and have less casualties in the future. I think I am short of time, so I'm gonna cut my presentation short. But again, I can share this. Victor has a copy as well, so please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. My team is always willing to partner, come and be a thought partner, and also help different components or different ministries within governments understand how they harness the power of AI from the hardware, policy, as well as the software component. Thank you very much, and I will end my presentation.
Thank you so much, Samuel. It is colleagues. It's really encouraging to see big tech companies like NVIDIA collaborating with us. I think this is comforting. What Prof. Sam indicated earlier, the ownership of these technologies and the platforms. When we think of AI, machine learning, I think we cannot think without GPUs and the light speed processing power Samuel talked about. And also we'd like to appreciate also the support you're providing NSOs. I'm part of this program, so thanks for that. I believe it's crucial for Africa to develop its own platforms, including LLM models, for its own security, regional security, not only relying what is out there. I would like also to benefit on the visualization, the prediction model. You talked about the Bentley company, but I think this is something we could explore as we engage further. As also ECA, we also work on climate action, health, and that also speaks to us. And I'm happy also to hear, because digital census is close to my heart. I'm also happy to hear that you are involved. That is my area of focus this time around. Thank you again, Samuel, for bringing these issues and also the support and the collaboration you have on the continent. With that note, I'd like to Victor, I need your guidance. How, in respect to time, how long we should open the discussion, or we should jump to the next session and open the discussion?
I think we can allow for about 15 minutes for questions, reflections from the audience. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. So I'd like, with that note, I'd like also to open the floor for questions, comment, reflections. I'd like to open for 3 interventions, and I'll let speakers to respond to, and then if the time allows, we can go for another round. Okay.
I could see a hand up, Mola. Isufu.
Oh, is there hands up? Yes, Isufu. Please take the floor.
Well, thank you, Mola. I am Isufu from UNECA also. So I have a question particularly for NVIDIA. I see you as a leaders in the production of these chips and these hardware for computing. But when we are looking at Africa, for example, we know that what is very common in Africa are very small devices like Android mobile phones. So you don't have that a lot of computing capacity on this small mobile phone, but it looks like there is a model where you can decentralize the computing. Maybe you have some server where you do hard computation, but part of the computation is delocalized. So are you really promoting, are you thinking to promote these kind of things that would be most likely what will democratize artificial intelligence and data science in Africa? Because this would be, I think, a real game changer for Africa. Over to you.
Yeah, I can take that.
Would like to respond? Yeah, sure. Samuel,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Thank you so much, that question, Asufu. That's a really great question. So I think, yes, there are plans, but NVIDIA as a company, so we are the platform company that provides the chip, and then we decentralize it by providing it to all our OEMs. So chips are in Lenovo devices, Dell devices, as well as Supermicro and others. So we give the sort of the ingredient or the instrument, and then the OEM partners then take it and bring it to you as the user. So mobile chips, I'm not sure of anything in the pipeline today, but we are doing a lot of mobile workstations. So think laptops that have GPUs in them. But I think in the future, as we move forward, I wouldn't be surprised if we came down the pipeline with smaller chips that actually also have not just GPU capabilities, but also CPU capabilities.
Thank you, Samuel, for that. Isufu, do you want to come in again?
No, it's
you want
okay.
to take
It's okay.
again?
No.
Second
Yeah, thank you.
chance. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Isufu.
No, I say it's clear. It's good. I was just saying
Thank you so much.
No comment.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I thought it was a new hand. Any other question, reflection, comment on the three speakers? What they have said? Francois, I think I see a hand. Yes. Go ahead, Francois. Please unmute yourself, Francois. Unmute your mic, and you have the floor. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
unmuted.
Yeah. I think I needed to be unmuted. Yeah, this is Francois, and thanks, Sam, for this great presentation, and thanks, NVIDIA. I'm just, while you were talking, I'm just thinking about the current African context where, you know, this Pan-Africanism is being kind of promoted, and what could be your advice when dealing with a country that is more, you know, focused on the sovereignty of the data, and then this computer or these devices coming from, you know, another organization which is not from here. Have you come across that, and how did you deal with that?
Thank you,
Great
Francois.
question.
That's an interesting question. I like actually Oliver, my director, to come in on that. I think it is about policy, legislation, rather than technology, but I'll also allow Samuel to chip in later. And Oliver and Prof. Sam and again, Samuel.
And
Oliver?
can you just repeat the question? Sorry, I was a bit distracted when the question was raised. If you could just briefly tell us about it.
Francois, can you?
Okay. So I was just saying with this device, and thanks to NVIDIA already for the great job being done, kind of anticipating a country where you could come and with the geopolitics, especially in Africa, where all leaders, being promoting the Pan-Africanism, and then they want to ensure the sovereignty of their data and so on. So I was asking, have you come across a country with such a situation, and how did you go about it, NVIDIA?
Oh, so that was directed to NVIDIA, but
Yes,
in terms of data sovereignty and privacy, I think,
I think NVIDIA should respond.
Oliver, do you want to come in or good?
No, I think let Sam respond to it.
Samuel, go ahead, Samuel.
Thanks for the question, Francois. Yeah, so the next part of my presentation was actually going to be on data sovereignty and how my team emphasized on that. So as Mr. Mola mentioned, there's a big necessity for countries to have ownership of their large language models, their training models, and then also their data sets, right? So our first advice or our first policy recommendation is for countries to make active investments in infrastructure that sits within their borders, right? So country buying their own GPUs, their own servers, their own storage, and having an air-gapped data center is the best way to sovereignty. Yes, the compute may come from the Western part, like normally the US or China and Taiwan, where most of these things are made. But when the compute does come, they come with no OS, no software. So you, as that respective country, will then go and install any data, firewalls, and everything you want on there. So that gives you some sort of security and then also ownership of everything that comes on that hardware henceforth. So I think the best way to ensure sovereignty is for countries or regional organizations to make active investments in their own hardware. That is the number one way to get there. But I know some cloud providers do provide government sectors or other government agencies air-gapped systems within the cloud, and they make sure that they're within region. So I'm aware AWS is building data centers in South Africa, as well as Microsoft Azure in Kenya. So that would give you some sense of sovereignty. Even if it's not within your country, it's within the confines of the continent.
Thank you, Samuel, for that. But let me add also, with respect to legislation and policy, I think that is heart of data sovereignty and privacy. It starts with legislation and policies. The technology will come in later, as Samuel alluded to. In the interest of time, let's take the last question very quickly, Lynette, and then we can close the session and go to the next one. Lynette?
Great. Thank you, Mola, and thanks to all the distinguished speakers. My question goes to Professor Anim. You talked about attracting new partnerships. So my question to you is, how do you make sure that the partnerships you are attracting are quality partnerships that, will help in the progression of the work and not necessarily come to take advantage of the processes and the procedures that have been put in place? Thank you.
Thank you, Lynette. Prof. Anim?
Thank you very much, Mola and Lynette. Thank you. This is a very challenging question, but Mola, let me quickly say something on the earlier question and provide a better understanding to what I meant by deploying positive aggression in this space. A number of countries do not have an artificial intelligence strategy. A number of countries do have digitalization or digitization policies. And in these countries that have either an artificial intelligence policy or a digitalization policy, there is anecdotal evidence that NSOs are not reflected in that. And some NSOs have decided that if they are not being part of an artificial intelligence strategy for the country, that is fine. And if you take that position, then you are harnessing the threats of artificial intelligence. So even if your country doesn't have one, the National Statistical Office should drive that movement. If your country has one and they've left out the statistical system, you need to be conscious about it, because that is where the issues of compromising the principles of official statistics is really at a high threat. So we need to deploy positive aggression and ensure that the space of artificial intelligence, the space of data science, the space of digitalization or digitization, national statistical systems are fully reflected in it. In one of our meetings that we held with our partners in country, the statement that they made to us, though a bit controversial, is that we need to invite ourselves into meetings that they've not invited us. Although it sounds difficult, but that is what we need to do if we want to protect our space in terms of the statistical system. Lynette, as I said, your question is very challenging, but the only way you can do that, again, is what I said earlier on. You need to have a repackaged human capacity and a repackaged IT system. If you are not at the frontier as a National Statistical Office or system, you wouldn't have the capacities to evaluate the risk of these partnerships. So what we always do as Statistical Service Ghana is that we ensure full documentation of what we are doing, and we don't only talk about the best practices and the success stories, we emphasize the risk associated with any partnership that we are in now. And that becomes the guiding principle going forward. So the response to your question is that if you are still working with the capacity that you had 5 years ago, there's a problem. You need to repackage your human capacity and your IT infrastructure. Thank you, and over.
Thank you, Prof. Anim. I think let's give a closure to the session. Oliver, do you like to come in here to say final word? I know Oliver is super busy with StatCom down the corner. I think let's conclude this session. Thank you so much. I'd like to extend my heartfelt appreciation for these 3 outstanding speakers. Your insights were invaluable. The way the technology, the advanced technology can drive statistics in the continent in a sustainable manner. We have also explored NVIDIA, not only as a hardware provider, but also a platform. So for GPU and other platforms and the solutions, we'd like to also appreciate. It's in my view, I hope you'll all agree, Africa needs to develop its own platforms for artificial intelligence, particularly in large language models, and also some critical technologies, including prediction models and so on for its own climate area and other development areas. Thank you once again, our speakers and all of you participants. Let's move on to the next session. Back to you, Victor.
All right. Thank you so much, Mola, for that fantastic job. And a big thank you to all our panelists, Professor Inim, Dr. Oliver Chingaya, Sam Afriye. We will go on quickly to the session 2. Yes, we've got the recording. I'm sure some of you are typing on the slides. We are reading and responding to you. Thank you so much, and keep them coming. We will go on straight to session 2, which would be a showcase from a couple of statistical offices in the region. We will hear from them in terms of how they have successfully, integrated data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence into their, operations. They'll be sharing some insight, learnings, and approaches. Permit me to call them one by one, but let me quickly introduce from Ghana Statistical Office is Kwamina Leo Akafra. Kwamina is a seasoned data scientist and an expert leader with over 20 years of experience at the Ghana Statistical Service. and he's currently acting as the acting lead of the data science unit and has spearheaded several innovative analytics solutions within the statistical office. He led the development of the computer-assisted personal interviewing systems for major censuses and collaborated on numerous data-driven projects and mentored emerging professionals as well. He has expertise in data management using several tools such as R, Python, Tableau, Stata, and he's very vast in statistical modeling as well and in leadership. He has a master's degree in applied statistics, an MBA in management information systems from the University of Ghana. Welcome with me, Kwamina, to present very quickly from Ghana Statistical Service. Over to you, Kwamina. Kwamina, we can't hear you. I guess, are you trying to unmute? And Motoni, can you help? Hello, Kwamina, can you hear us? Motoni, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, is he unmuted?
It looks like he might have dropped off.
Okay, so maybe we can move
Okay,
on.
he's here. He's here.
He's here, okay. Kwamina, can you hear us? Or do we?
I can hear you now.
All right.
I'm sorry, I was unmuted by the setup, so but now I'm playing now.
Go for it. You've got about 15 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victor, and thank you for this opportunity to speak on GSS, Ghana Statistical Service, leveraging on data science tools for official statistics. Please, can I go to the next one? Please, can I go to the next slide?
Yes, Kwamina, you have control. You should be able to change.
I'm unable to do that yet. Okay, great. My task here is to help to give some use cases that we're able to do, but just to give us a little overview of our mission as an institution and grounded in our 2020 to 2024 corporate plan, which focuses on enhancing an evidence-based decision-making in our country and seizing the new opportunities, national context approach and focus, and we drive on implementation, monitoring, and evaluation. But based on this discussion, we want to really focus on seizing new opportunities. And we are really seizing an opportunity of the new emerging technologies and data ecosystem. Please, can I go to the next slide? I'm unable to do that here. Great. So just want to say that we seize the opportunity based on this little data science journey that I will try to depict here. What we've done is that April to the 2020, we had a very good opportunity to team up with other institutions and to work on core data record. And within that period, we had COVID also emerging. Then we realized that an emerging trend has emerged that we need to make sure we seize that opportunity. From there, we realized that data science is another issue that we need to look at. A team was formed as a data science unit, as a data science team. And then based on the vision and the thought of leadership at the time, we realized that you can achieve much if you institutionalize data science as part of the GSS organogram. So the organogram then makes sure that these are not things that are done in ad hoc, but a well-established system that falls within the organogram. So currently, as we speak, the leadership is able to implement and incorporate data science as a directorate, not even as a unit. So there's a research and data science directorate that then have a data science unit, and it needs to design it so such a way that it encompasses almost all the data actors within the institution. And all of us agree that in an NSO, the key data actors within the NSO is the data processing, is the GIS, is the research, and then we added the data science to it. So now what we have is that we have a directorate that basically harnessed all the data within the institution into one repository that then other data science activities can be plugged in. What we also realized that you cannot start using the same stuff, and I realize Professor Enim and Oliver all emphasized on recruitment staff and all in the earlier section. So what we did was a kind of a deliberate effort or a destructive effort to recruit a new set of proper staff that will blend to the old staff for us to achieve what we intend to do. After setting up these processes, we went further to think about capacity building, but we had two approaches in doing this. We had an approach of learn and build. So it's not basically like let's people get in and go for a training seminar for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But in the process of you being on a project, you learn a use case, you learn and you get project built. And that has really enhanced this journey for us so far. Please can we go to the next slide. So let me kindly speak on our little more modest achievements so far. The first one is that we leverage on data science tools for sensors. And all of us agree here, as most of us are from the NSOs. We realize that doing the manual data collection is time consuming and error prone, and especially benchmarking with existing data. So what we did as an institution prior to the sensors was to leverage on satellite imagery, and we're using the building footprints to validate and even predict the area of difficulty, the workload that will be espoused around us. We also as well looked at using a lot of machine learning tools to do the matching. And this, we say our successful story was to reduce the time of processing sensors considerably. And we're able to produce census results in the shortest possible time post-census. Out of that, we realized that the process also triggered into another layer. So now what we realize is that if you apply data science tools in the processing, you get to develop additional products out of your effectiveness or like how the tool, how you leverage on it. So for instance, if we process the data manually, now you need to either optical scanner, you have to scan, you have to do key verification. All these processes would have consumed a lot of time. And this data really have to kind of come back and merge to get into another portfolio. By using all these tools and we're able to validate and ensure that our data is of the highest quality, we're able to trigger this and pipe into another dissemination tool that we call StatBank. That data based on census tables can easily be accessible by users at any point in time in a web portal. Because of this also, as we trigger this base platform, then we have to then add up to it in terms of other surveys. So currently now it becomes like a repository that houses all the data set, either from surveys, from censuses, in one platform that you can easily go there anytime that you want. And it hosts millions of data points that you can at all times access and use it. So our success story with this approach is that we reduce time and we as well as also help us to make users accessible to our data. What will be the data? What will be the use of data if users cannot make use of it? Please can we go to the next slide? Currently, GSS is really focusing and driving on admin data. And our drive on admin data is focusing on web scraping, it's focusing on PDF scraping of legacy systems that institutions don't even know where the source data are. These data are either in the form of a document, a report that is scattered that people have to be even contacted for us to have access to. And by using this approach, currently I can say that we're able to scrape more than 20-year-old data from Ghana Ministry of Education, which is in Ghana, that is a ministry that's in charge of education. And this is accumulating into a report. For instance, we're able to also work with our agencies that directly deal with payment of salary of public sector workers. And out of this process of using data science tools and skill, we're able to produce reports on earning inequalities for 2022 in the public sector. So basically, as we speak now, we also connect with all the administrative districts we have in this country, make sure that we're able to harness the data that they produce either in daily or batch. Then we process to clean it for report generation. That geared towards more of a lower level disaggregation. that wouldn't have gotten this through the traditional surveys that we all know or we all align to. So we realized that our case 2, for now, it's more of a passion of the office as I speak, and a lot of engagement is ongoing. A lot of memorandum of understanding is written between the agencies that works within the country that should be able to help us have access to data and also see the need of a win-win situation that you give us data, we process it, we structure it, and you come back to leverage on the same data so that you'll be able to use to help you come up to your policy and make an informed decision. Currently, as we are even discussing, we are also we delve into more of training more agencies under the National Statistical Systems with the leverage on HISWA project that we are having within the West African region to train more agencies to know how to really get the data in the form that can be processed, analyzed, and make use of. Case 3. And then we also have a platform that helps us report on the SDG, satellite data for SDG monitoring. And this report which shows the potential of employing geographical technologies and remote sensing. And we'll use Esri platform that helps us to report on targets 15.1.1, 15.1.2, and 15.4.1, and 15.1.2. So basically we have a lot of things that we've done, and these are things that we realize that we would not have easily achieved leveraging on the traditional surveys, or that has a lot of cost, time consuming in processing, and probably might not even have that data at that granular level. So leveraging on data science tools, AI tools, and machine learning, the office, which is Ghana Statistical Service, is able to produce results that is aligned in reporting for the SDG program. Please, can we go to the next one? And this is our strategic approach. And I'm speaking more from a middle level perspective. The strategic approach had been first institutionalization of data science activity as directorate that's under the technical organogram branch of GSS. So that gives the high level leverage. That's a management at higher level meetings. There's a representative that speaks on data science, a purposive recruitment drive to make sure that we get the right youthful mix of the experience that we have, and then make sure that we drive the data science goal to the end. And then we needed to be guided. So we also have to then develop a data science roadmap that guide activity from 8 infant stage. And then the cardinal point of the whole process is training. So the training. And what we're saying is that training is not placing staff, personnel on this, but training is to let you learn and build. So most of the use cases that we've exhibited in most of the forum and places that we've done, and the one that I just showed, the 3 cases out of 20 or more, is based on learn to build. So you start a project, a use case, you work on it. In the process of learning, you make mistakes, you get it learned, you have a mentor that helps you to go through the process, and we end up getting it to the end and then published. And then we also realized that most of the things we did is also centered on more partnership. And GSS, with its design and approach in coming up with the data science unit, is able to build partnership with a lot of institutions that they always provide us the needed support, either technical or financial. And then our next strategic approach is that we don't get complacent with the use case that we have. It's a continuous development of use case. And one process we realize that the more use case we get, the more we get more exposed to more of the new tools and more of the innovations within the data science ecosystem. Can we go the next slide? Okay, Thinker framework. Like I did pointed out, our Thinker framework's strategic. The organogram plays the research and data science directorate as one unit. What this translates to mean is that the data science unit, the data processing unit, the GIS and research team is managed by one entity. And then the process of GSS activity is that every survey, every data collected within GSS is centralized and get connected to the Data Science and Research Directorate. This means we don't go outside fetching for data from other units. That is it's most common in most NSOs, that when I need a GIS information, I need to cross to another directory that will create some lag or waiting time. When we have all this centered at one place, we have only one go-to source, which helps us to make sure that data can easily be translated, connected, or diffused to get the things that we want using data science too. And additional leverage that staff within this directory also get to learn what is going on in other units within the directory. So like if I'm playing much more role on data science, I'm much more connected to data processing, I'm much more connected to GIS, I'm much more connected to the research. I would say the research units have not been too highly functional, but the three units that falls under this Thinker framework that we used to work along with that. And all of you will know that data processing and GIS has been a traditional unit. And the data science unit brings on board that. And then the initial approach that we did was first to make sure that the staff within the data science unit get connected to other units within the office, have the learning curve as what other units are doing, prep them and help them to build use cases. So almost all the use cases that we have is not a decentralized approach. It's decentralized approach, not centralized. It's not data science developing it, but it's developing along with other units within the service. So like when GSS is like the example that I gave on the use case on the population, there's a demographic unit, there's other units and the census and survey directorate that works on censuses, but the tools and leverage comes from data science. So we really have to know that data science really connects, but does not really isolate and bridge a gap between an existing directorate or unit. It's basically helping the other unit and directorate to work efficiently in the process of helping to automate the processes that they do, and then also help them to enhance their scripting and coding activities that other directorates are not connected. So this is really a bit technical that we need to really look at it well. I see GSS approach brings much more synergy and brings more cooperation than having data science become more a centralized office that will run its own project from the other units within the NSO. Please can we go to the next point? So collaborations. In our journey on this, we've been able to have privilege to work with Statistics Day, my Flow Minder, Office of National Statistics UK, UNECA. UNECA has been part of us from day one. NVIDIA, through the Global Partnership for Sustainable Development. And I must say that the system unit that was provided for us helped us through to process most of our large data sets that would have struggled much going forward if you hadn't been the workstation that we had from NVIDIA. Please, next slide. Please, next slide. So lessons. The first take on our lessons learned is change management. And I realized that Prof. Neem, Olivia, and the earlier section did speak about it. Traditional data processing to emerging data ecosystems. You have a set of staff that have been in the system for 20, 30, 50 years that new ways of doing things would have to be well grounded in, and it takes a lot of time to get this change management thing. So you really have to have a way to manage it. We also have to look at the development of use case. First, idealizing, scoping, and implementing. There are ideas that comes very awesome, but at the point of scoping, you realize that getting it to the end is a bit complicated. Getting the source of data that you think you can easily source, it takes longer time to get those data sourced. And then the third point I want to emphasize is the mentorship. There are times we have good projects that we realize that as a new domain and new environment, you still need some people who are grounded in those fields to mentor some of us to get things to its end. And then like NVIDIA mentioned, cloud versus on-premises, and I realized Mola was speaking much also about sovereignty and the likes. It's always been a concern that the right IT infrastructure coupled with how do you maintain this high-level IT aspects? How do you keep them on payroll? The huge investment in IT, it's also a huge challenge for us. And then issue of data governance. And then lastly will be the legal framework, reviewing laws on what can be scrapped and utilized for official statistics. As been mentioned in the earlier session, some of the things are much more high level that when the law and the framework is there, NSOs will be able to live up to with the collaboration that is needed. Please, can I go to the last slide? So our conclusion and foresight is that our model success of integrated data science in 8 activities highlight the following. Establish a research in data science, as already talked on. We leverage on data science tools in producing more than 10 use cases that are published. We train staff internally to manage most of the use cases. We looking to build more use cases and strengthen human resource and infrastructure capacity for the future ahead. And we know the future holds unlimited possibilities as technology and innovation cease not to end. Thank you on this end. Back to you, Victor.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kwamina, for that very rich and insightful presentation, and so educative to see how much the GSS had over the past couple of years employed artificial intelligence and machine learning to pen the work that you do at the GSS. Thank you so much. We don't have so much time. I'm going to move on to our next speaker from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. Sarah Ndunda is the manager at the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics in charge of data science and data dissemination. She holds a master's in statistics and a bachelor in statistics with IT, along with postgraduate training in data science. She's very passionate about leveraging her expertise to drive meaningful insights and inform evidence-based decision-making. Sarah coordinates a team of data scientists, statisticians, and IT experts in integrating data science and non-traditional statistical methods into official statistics reporting. Additionally, she is part of the dissemination team that ensures data produced by the Bureau is openly accessible in user-friendly formats. Outside of work, Sarah is a fitness enthusiast and an avid hiker. She's a recreational runner and ultra marathoner dedicated to promoting fitness. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us. Over to you. You've got 18 minutes. Thank you. You've got 15 minutes, sorry. You're still muted, Sarah?
Thank you so much, Victor. All protocols observed. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Sarah Mwikali Ndunda from Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, and I'll be talking about our use case in Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. My agenda will be introduction, use case overview, approach and methodology, challenges and solutions, key insights and learning, future directions and strategies, in conclusion. Muthoni, kindly take me to the next slide. To the introduction, Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is a government agency mandated to collect, compile, analyze, and publish statistical information on behalf of the government. Our vision is quality statistics for better lives. And our mission is to provide, manage, and promote quality statistics through utilization of best practices for public use. Core values are professionalism, integrity, confidentiality, customer focus, innovation, and teamwork. Why I have best practices and innovation on board is because I'm trying to anchor data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence in the context of the Bureau. Next slide. Still, while I'm trying to anchor that artificial intelligence, machine learning, and data science in our context, it's also part of our Statistics Act 2006 to promote innovation. So integration of data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So the reason why Kenya National Bureau of Statistics is integrating machine learning, data science, and artificial intelligence in production of artificial statistics, it's because we want to improve data accuracy and quality. And this is because when you are, like, for example, automated your data quality checking, it means that the data which comes into your system is accurate and also of high quality. Handling large and complex data sets. The way data is being generated nowadays, it's really coming in large amounts. And a good example is administrative data, which a lot of people don't tend to think is big data, but it is big data and very complex. And also to reduce cost and time for data collection, especially when we talk about data collection during census, when we did the data collection using our tablets, and we were the first NSO in Africa to do that. And we really did it within very short time and produced the results within 2 months. We also support SDG monitoring and reporting, enhance data visualization and communication. We also support data anonymization and privacy protection. This is because with these non-traditional methods, data science, machine learning, you find that people can easily identify respondents of data. And if you're not keen when it comes to anonymization, then you can be able to expose people and respondents in your data. Also, innovation and international competitiveness. That's another reason. Next slide, please. So the projects which we are doing, we have web scraping for CPI and real estate data. We have automated data quality checking. We have estimation of carbon emissions from transport sector, distance computing, administrative and survey data linkage. We have development of cholera dashboard, and currently we are working on a chatbot. Next slide. So I would like to just talk about two projects which we are doing, and I would like to start with web scraping for CPI and real estate data. And the reason why I chose this one is because CPI web scraping is a continuous process, but for real estate data, we have already started using web scraped data for real estate data. Overview. For those who have not interacted with web scraping, it refers to the automated extraction of information from websites. Kenya National Bureau of Statistics uses web scraping to gather CPI data from online stores and real estate companies. We are using both Python and R tools. And Python, it has rich libraries like Beautiful Soup, Request, and Pandas, which we use for web scraping. And for R, we have RVest, HTTR, and XML2, which also is very efficient when it comes to web scraping too. Next slide. So our methodology when we are doing web scraping for CPI and real estate data involves identifying reliable data sources, inspecting the website structure to understand how the data is presented, and creating scripts to automate the data extraction. The approach includes managing challenges such as site accessibility, handling dynamic loaded content, for example, using JavaScript, and ensuring compliance with legal and ethical data access guidelines, and thus to restrict ourselves to only the information which is available to the public, and also to make sure that we do not interfere with the websites of the organization. So our scripts are written to fetch the web page using requests for Python and HTTR or RVest for R packages. And we send a HTTP request and retrieve the HTML content of websites. And with beautiful soup for Python and RVest for R, we paste the HTML and extract the relevant data only. So if the web scraping uses JavaScript to load data, we use Selenium to stimulate a browser environment. Next slide. So once extracted data once we extract the data, we store it locally in CSV format or Excel for processing and further analysis. And the process of web scraping is automated to ensure regular updates to the data. So basically, we web scrap between 8th and 21st of every month, which is the period where we also do traditional data collection for CPI data. And for us to make sure that we do not interfere with traffic in the websites, we have automated our script. We usually web scrap at midnight. It starts from midnight every day between 8th and 21st of every month. So the project is at comparison stage for CPI, whereby we are comparing the outcome from web scrapped data and also the traditionally collected data. Next slide. This is a summary of web scraping. So we identify the online stores websites where we want to scrape from, and real estate websites, and using R and Python, we are able to extract data in CSV or Excel format, and we store that data in database for processing. Next slide. I've also talked about automated data quality checking. This one, we used it successfully when we were collecting agriculture data early this year, whereby Kenya National Bureau of Statistics uses CAPI, and we use CS Pro, which is Census and Survey Processing System, Survey Solution, and Open Data Kit. So the one which we have automated fully is Survey Solution. When we are using Survey Solution to collect data, we have automated the process, and we did it successfully when we were collecting agriculture data. So we checks are applied immediately after the data is uploaded from the field, ensuring that all errors are identified and addressed promptly before further processing and analysis. This is to make sure that the data which comes and it has errors, it doesn't get stored for further analysis. This automated approach was successfully implemented during collection of data, agriculture data, reducing time needed for manual intervention. Next slide. So our approach for this one, we used automated approach to data quality checking using a custom-made app built with R scripts. So we created an app using R scripts, and this app is connected to the server where the data comes directly from the field, allowing for real-time monitoring and error detection as data is uploaded from the field. As soon as the data enters the server, the app checks it against the predefined quality parameters and flags its any inconsistencies or errors back to the enumerator for immediate correction. The goal for this approach is to ensure that data errors are caught early in the data collection process, minimizing delays in the analysis and enhancing overall data reliability. Next slide. So the methodology here is data integration, data collection integration. So data collected using service solution is automatically uploaded to the server. And then error detection and flagging, the R script based app scans the incoming data for errors such as missing values, outliers, or inconsistencies, which with predefined quality standards. Any flagged issues are reported back to the enumerators in real time for prompt resolutions. We also have a dashboard for reporting. So the app generates a comprehensive dashboard showing survey coverage and resolved flagged errors and pending taxes. This ensures that management team has full visibility into quality control processes, including what area needs further attention or follow-up. This is to make sure that, like, for example, if an enumerator has not been able to address the flagged errors, then you can be able to get in touch with them and remind them to handle it. Next. So this is a summary of automated data quality checking. So that is data from CAPI, from interviewer 1 up to 4. And then we have data quality checking system. And then the errors are flagged back to the interviewers, and the verified data, you're able to visualize it using dashboard, and then you can store it for analysis. Next. So the challenges, we really have a lot of challenges and solutions, but I have just picked 3, which I think they cut across many NSOs. And the first one is insufficient ICT infrastructure. And for solution, this one we handled by making sure that we are using open source data science tools, even though ICT and infrastructure also includes hardware and software. The hardware, that is a continuous process. So we can never get a solution for hardware. We can never get a sufficient solution for ICT. But this is now what we have been able to do as of now. So we've just used open source data science tools to reduce cost while still maintaining quality in analysis and infrastructure. For the hardware, that is a continuous problem which needs continuous solution. The other one is capacity building and integrating data scientists within Kenya National Bureau of Statistics establishment. And I guess this is also common within many NSOs. And this one, we are addressing it with regular in-house training and capacity building workshop to upskill existing staff into data science techniques. Remember, as my colleague Kwamena said, data science is not one unit or one directorate or one department task. It's for the entire organization. That means each and every person, whether they are dealing with data science or they are not, they need skills. And that's why it's a continuous process. You have to keep on training people, you have to keep on involving people, and you have to work together as an organization. So capacity building as well, this is a continuous process, and that's where our partners have been helpful, including GPSDD, and also we have UNECA. They have also been very helpful when it comes to capacity building. The other challenge, which I also think cuts across NSOs, is lack of laws to govern use of data science, AI, and big data in our countries. And if there is any country which has these laws, I would really want to hear them and know how they have been able to have them. And what we are doing as an organization with this is that we are adopting global best practices such as ethics in artificial intelligence by UNESCO. And also as an organization, we also try to have internal policies which also control the use and also access of data, especially now for these non-traditional methods. Next slide. So future directions and strategies. It's first of all, right now we are developing a roadmap and a strategy for the integration of these non-traditional methods in production of official statistics. We also have strengthening partnerships and collaborations. And I think it's partnerships which have brought us together here and collaborations which have brought us together. So our goal is to continue strengthening those partnerships so that we may also continue growing when it comes to data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and other non-traditional methods of production of official statistics. We also hope to increase the number of data scientists and support staff. Data science is new in Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, unlike my colleague from GSS, who said they started from 2020, was started last year. So we are still trying to add the number of data scientists and support staff and make sure that we achieve as much. So we also have goal to continue updating tools and technologies to keep in pace with the industry advancements. We also look forward to enhancing computational resources and data storage capabilities. My colleague from GSS has also talked about that. It's also a challenge to us, and we look forward to addressing it as well. And also encourage a culture of innovation through hackathons, competitions, and collaborative projects. That is also to bring NSOs on board, and implementing feedback loops to continuously refine processes and methodologies, and also developing new data products and service tailored to stakeholders' needs. Next slide. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sarah. That was amazing and good timing as well. Please, I would urge all of you to, if you have questions, you can keep your questions. You can post them on the chat. There will be a session for questions and answers. Let me go on to our next speaker. Our next speaker is from the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda. Mrs. Therese Uwimana is the Director of Data Revolution and Big Data at the National Institute of Statistics, Rwanda. She coordinates the Department of Data Scientists to scope and deliver data science projects that support the Institute in achieving its mandate of supporting evidence-based decision-making across governments. She also serves at the Program Management Unit of the UN Regional Hub on Big Data and Data Science for Africa. Her focus is on establishing an enabling environment for big data systems, administrative data, and use of technology to enhance frequency and efficiency of statistics production. Welcome with me, Therese Uwimana. Over to you, Therese.
Thank you, Victor. Maybe for interest of time, thank you for the introduction. I will not come back to that.
We have 15 minutes, please note. Thank you.
Yes, I will try to manage them accordingly. So next, if you can go to the next slide, I'm going to share the context of the Statistics Office in Rwanda, give you a quick highlight on the projects we've been doing, but I will dive into only 2 use cases for the interest of time. And I will also share opportunities and challenges we've faced, but also share what are the critical success story factors in our perspective, and then give you the plans and who made this possible in terms of partnerships and collaboration. So next slide. So a quick view on the context. Rwanda, the statistics, we've now achieved 3 strategies of development of statistics so far. The last one ended in June this year, and we are diving into the 4th. So we'll not read on the slides, but how we started, it was more of building internal capacities. And then we expanded on the second one to start producing regular statistics. On the 3rd, that's when we started opening up and leveraging these new technologies, as our panelists mentioned. On the 3rd strategy, around just after COVID in 2021, that's when we recruited a Department of Big Data at the Statistics Office. It's made of 13 people, me inclusive. So I'm the head of that department. So from then, now we are mandated to scope data science and big data or any other innovations to modernize official statistics. So going forward in the fourth strategy, we are focusing mainly on the external engagements and regional focus. As you are aware, we are hosting the regional hub for big data in the region. Next. Yes, so a quick summary of the projects we've undertaken. First of all, we have to agree that we didn't have capacity, though we were recruited as a new data science department. We needed to strengthen our capacities. So after that, we tackled a number of projects to start with data linkage. I will dive into that more on the next slide. And we've also done a lot around visualization, communication of statistics, but also quality assurance systems. We've also explored around machine learning, how it can be beneficial in our agriculture survey that we conduct 3 seasons a year. And we've also done a lot in the line of automation to free time of our experts. And last but not least, we are working on a project around triangulation where we are combining survey data with administrative data to produce gender statistics. And we've also started exploring how AI can be used mainly to allow users to ask questions or ask numbers in the natural language. So next. So next again, the first project I'm going to share more about today is around data linkage. So data linkage, maybe for interest of those who don't know, it's to be precise, is it's a process where you identify records of concerning the same entity across different data sources. So matching happens when you are checking whether records from different data sets relate to one person basing on some set of variables you have set. Next. So back, I think you skipped a lot of back again. Yes, not the next, just yes. So one can ask, why did we do the data linkage? First, this project was happened in collaboration with the Office for National Statistics in the UK. So we did capacity building and then we dived into this project just after our census. So we wanted to do the quality assessment of our census that happened in 2022. So data linkage helped us gain time because we did quicker matching, but also it was cost effective and it also helped us assess data quality. So we did 3 stages. We first did cleaning as any other analytical projects. We did pre-linkage cleaning, editing, and everything. And then we did the linkage and then shared the insights to assess the census quality. Next. So post-enumeration survey, it's normally for those maybe who may not know it, it's a survey that is conducted just after a census to assess its quality in terms of coverage, but also data quality. So our post-enumeration survey just happened 1 month after census. And then we were trusted with that project to run it, but also do the data linkage of both census and this survey to assess the quality. Next. So in our context, we developed a matching algorithm using Python. And the algorithm was to assess similarities between same entity, or in this case, same household, be it in census and post-enumeration survey. Because we visited the same sampled enumeration area, but then with different enumerators and different techniques. And then the linkage, we wanted to assess whether information on the same household is similar both in census and post-enumeration survey. So we developed match keys at different levels, and then we use different methodologies to make sure that we are confident enough that these actual data sets or just information of each household are actually similar from census and post-enumeration survey. Next. So we did two types. There's we developed matching keys that were to match identical informations from different census and pairs. It matched automatically, but there were some conflicts. There were some bit duplicates or some close to, like, when a matching algorithm faces, like, there were times they were confused, either is this the same, like a matching, is it meant to match or not? So we developed a critical resolution widget that was to display two entities from census and pairs for a human eye to confirm whether they are actually matching or not. So we did both automatic matching, but also critical review for those duplicates or conflicting matches. Next. So we did matching in different levels. First of all, we matched within the household itself. But after finishing that level, we moved to the enumeration level. But also enumeration area in our case is close to the first how can I go in our context is like a cell. I don't know, it's maybe up to 150 households. So that was our closest enumeration area. But once we finish all the matches within an enumeration area, we move to the district level and so on to make sure that we do as many as possible of automatic matching before we move to critical review. Next. So after matching, we did quality assurance, because I assume that one can check, can ask how are we confident that the automatic matches are exactly the matches. So we had a methodology to quality assure automatic matches to ensure that actually the system has matched right matches. So there are some technical terms like precision and recalls. So maybe I will not go into too much details for now, but we computed the precision and recall to be confident that our matches are actually real and quality ones. Next. So this project achieved quite a number of gains. First of all, it's less time. We managed to do it in less than 3 weeks. And that was really good. It helped us to share the results of census on time. And it was of low cost because we used very few personnel. And it was also, it's reproducible because the algorithm that was developed is now helping us in other different projects of linkage. Mainly, I can share that now we are working on linking now our establishments to understand on their lifetime. So we've also developed skills that are going to be applied in different other projects. So I've shared in the slide a link to the report of post-enumeration survey for more information. Next. So the next use case I'm going to share is around web scraping. We've done this project when we just came in office, and we wanted to explore how online prices, online data can complement our existing surveys. So we web scrap tourism information, but also job adverts. So today I'm going to share more on the job adverts. Next. Next. So the background here in Rwanda, and I think it's the case in other countries, we have a growing use of websites to announce jobs. So that's why we grabbed this opportunity and we started, we thought that what if we just harvest online jobs and see how they can give us insights in the job supply side, because normally we conduct our labor force survey, so we have more information on the employment and the job seekers, but we wanted also to understand on the job supply. Next. So I think my colleague has explained a lot technically on how they do web scrapping. I will not go into that. So we just develop web scrappers, and we make sure that they don't inconvenience our website owners. But in our case, there's something maybe I can share. Once we started web scrapping, we had had discussions with the website owners, but later on they started asking, why do you have to web scrap? Why can't you just ask, we give you guys APIs instead of web scrapping? So that's why our project did not continue. Now we are in a process to see whether we can put in place APIs instead of just web scrapping. Next. So during our pilot on the web scrapping, we managed to harvest to web scrap almost 1,000 job adverts in only 3 months, and we could compute some statistics. For instance, what type of jobs are available, which domains of education are required. If you go to the next slide. Yeah, we could see like which domain of education was most wanted. In that case, it was business and administration. We could see, if you go to the next slide, we could also see which is the most wanted level of education. In that case, it was bachelor degree. And next. Yeah, and we did also, we wanted to see like if we compare business and administration to other domains, we could see that in all, even diploma, in all different degrees, business administration is the one in orange, was the most wanted, mainly at bachelor's level. So if you go to the next. So we could also see the domain of education by experience, and mostly experience 3 to 5 years was the most wanted in business administration, and 5 and plus years. So those were some insights we could compute out of the web scrapping. But as I shared, this project was paused, and we are exploring how we can develop APIs instead of web scrapping. Next. So along our journey, even in other projects, we've had opportunities and also challenges. So among opportunities, we don't take for granted the vision and the leadership of the country. They have give us, like, they have set the foundation for whatever we do, because the government has invested a lot in ICT, in digitalization. So we are leveraging that. We have also in place relevant laws and guidelines. I think Sarah was saying they want to have maybe AI. Currently in Rwanda, we have AI policy. Maybe you can even if you search on Google, you can find it. So we have in place relevant frameworks that are needed to explore this area, this technology era. So we also have administrative data, because there are a lot of systems, even on the government side. Or most of the services now are digitalized, so you can access them online. So there's also awareness at the country level is good. So we have demand. And we've had partnerships with the universities that are producing, that are training students in different areas such as data science. We have masters in Internet of Things. We have masters in data science, in machine learning, in big data analytics. So those are the opportunities we have at the local level. We also have an interest of investors that are coming in this space. And we also tap into the opportunity of being a host of the UN Regional Hub. So this is helping us to attract expertise, to attract investors and collaborations. But also we've had challenges along the journey. The first one is similar to my colleagues. First of all, we have limited expertise in different sectors, but also ICT infrastructure is, as you are aware, is also a challenge here. But we are just working out alternatives, and thanks to NVIDIA on the core, I think you have good things for us. And also the retention, in our case, retention of right talents has been an issue, and we are just working out how we can, because as maybe it's, I don't know if it's a case in different countries, private countries have better incentives to retain talents, which is not the case for government. So it's been also a challenge to us. Next. So I would like to share some critical factors. First of all, on the strategic level, there is vision. We need to have a clear vision. I want to emphasize on what Professor Anin said in his opening remarks. We need to have clear objectives. Why do we do what we are doing? Or what if you just want to use data science for, why do you need data science and for what? We need to really think through that, so that we make good benefit out of it. We need to also have clear and relevant legal frameworks in place, but also understand our context. Context of Rwanda might be different from any other country. So we need to understand our local context. Also understand risks, but we don't have to fail to try. But also we need partnerships, right partnerships. I think this has been spoken on earlier. We need right partnerships to drive this forward. At the technical level, we need right infrastructure, be it computer power, reliable internet, but also we need right skills. And but also we need also to work on our products, on our statistical products. As you are aware, AI tools, some of the times, like if you type into Google and you want to find maybe statistics of a country, sometimes you realize that the first link that comes at you is from a different or even an international organization. It's sad that we need to work more on our products and make sure we make them ready and understandable by AI tools. Otherwise, someone else from overseas, we just provide indicators for a country, yet we are the statistical offices. We need to make sure that we are the first one when it comes to sharing key numbers for a country. Next. There's also some critical factors on operational issues. We need to make sure we have right capabilities and trainings, but we also have right facilitation, be it in financial. I'm again talking about incentives on the right experts, but also we need teamwork, be it locally, but also regional. Like now we are sharing experiences, we learn from each other, but also mentorship and guidance. Whoever has made it will to mentor others and learn and guide, so that we make sure that no one is left behind on this call. So quality assurance is key, because most of these technologies, some methods are still have issues. So we need to make sure that we quality assure what we do so that we don't compromise statistics. Next. So how we are going, so this is a strategy from our lessons in the past 3 years, how we are planning to go about it. First of all, there are first things, what are the gains from this technological bits, data science and big data? How are we adding value internally? Because our statistical offices have the mandate to produce statistics. So how are we adding value? So fundamental innovations is key. We need to prioritize. That is my perspective. We need to make priorities here at the office. First of all, we are focusing on automation, documentation of what we do so that we free our experts time so that they think on strategic innovations. And once we optimize whatever comes with technology, now that's how we start exploring how new data sources can add value, and later on we aim to transform when we have new methodologies tested. Now that's when we will be able to transform and use different approaches to compute official statistics. There are cross-cutting items that we don't have to forget, which is data security, privacy, efficiency, timeliness, and frequency of statistics to inform policy formulation. Next. So none of whatever I've shared could have been possible without partnerships and collaboration. So this is a list, which I think maybe it's not exhaustive, of our partners that have made all the journey smooth. So with that, I thank you, Victor, back to you.
Thank you so much, Therese, and I want to thank everyone for your patience. Therese, that was really, really good. We have just one final presentation from the ECA, and I will call on Mr. Umar Saidu to, moderate the panel, and, that will lead towards the close. So let me call on our last but not the least speaker from the UN ECA, Dr. Isifu Sunda. Is the principal statistician at the UN Economic Commission for Africa. He's got a rich background in economic statistics, development management, data science, and he plays a key role in data collection and economic analysis, focusing on economic diversification, structural transformation, environmental, economic accounting, etc. Isufu has a strong interest in emerging technologies like machine learning and blockchain, applying them to social and economic development in Africa. He holds an advanced degree in statistical economics and development management, and is currently, also pursuing a PhD in data science. Welcome, Isufu Sunda. Over to you. Please, you've got 15 minutes if you can help me. Thank you. You are muted, Isufu. Can someone help me unmute Isufu, Mutoli?
Okay.
Thank you.
The technology is okay now, right? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. So I am the last speaker. I will try to go faster. As you have said, I didn't come directly from data science, but more for economic statistics, because when we were doing statistic, data science did not even exist. But when it arrived, we have seen the potential, and I'm very interested in everything that has to do with AI, particularly artificial intelligence, large language models. But I will start with a short presentation. So we are not actually a national statistic office. We are a multilateral organization. So you might see some repetition in what I'm going to say, because we have already been working with Therese and NSOs. We have already been working with the Ghana Statistic Office. We have been supporting many statistical offices in Africa. But the core function of the African Center for Statistics, first, is strengthening the capacity of the national statistical system, as I said. We are also trying to improve the availability of harmonized statistics for economic analysis. And then we are supporting member states in the production of geospatial data. We are also supporting them on survey. I think you heard about everything that our colleague Mola has done in the digital censuses and survey. And then we are implementing modern data collection and practice. So we are touching different point. Next slide. Or can I move it myself? So one of the things that is guiding us is what we call our roadmap for transformation and modernization of official statistics. So you can see here that we are really at the strategic level. We are trying to see what is the problems of the National Statistical Office, what is their current situation, and how can we bring them to this point where they are mature in terms of production of data. So we have produced what we call a roadmap. It has some key enablers, some strategies, and then we are using it to support the progress of national statistics system. So I will not spend my time on it. Next slide. What we have are key drivers for transformation and modernization of statistics. We have made a study with the help of ONS UK, and we have found that what drives the progress of national statistical system. First, we need to put the users first. This is very important. And I think with data science of artificial intelligence also, we can do this putting user first because we have this power of user to query some data that before they couldn't query because they are too technical. And there's also the idea of optimizing resources. This also, there is a great opportunity in artificial intelligence and data science because now we can do things that we couldn't do before automatically. Next slide. Okay, next. Just so why are we interested in AI to begin with? We are statistician, we are official statistician. What we have is a mandate to produce data that have some level of quality and that we can guarantee that it is official statistics. So users trust us because we are and trusted by the government that we can produce data with the quality, with the professionalism and everything. So why are we even interested in artificial intelligence? Because we have noticed that it's changing the game in many areas. We have seen that it has a capacity to handle very complex patterns. This is interesting for us as statisticians. We can improve data accuracy. We can ensure that many processes are data-driven because now different chatbots can talk to each other and exchange data. We have been trying to do it a long time before with things like SDMX, but it was complex. Now it's easy with artificial intelligence. Then we have all these models that have been appearing in Facebook, in Google, that do incredible prediction in time series. And this is new also for us because we used to use econometric models that are very few parameters and the complexity that they can handle was limited, but now we have all these things that are coming. That's why we see that really machine learning, it has a high potential and we should try to push NSOs to use it. Next slide. So here we have been thinking, this slide is from, I would say, last year when things were still new for us and we were thinking why is data science an opportunity for a National Statistical Office? It's a new innovation. So we're looking at what we call the innovation model and where are we now? Because we believe that we are still in the stage that we call early adopters, where there are people who are not convinced that this is where we should go. There are people who are very enthusiastic, who are very far. So we are at this stage. And if we manage to pass it, then we will go to the stage that we call majority, late majority, legacy. So this is a critical step where we need to convince people that data science is really good for statistics, particularly to, how to say, with those who are resisting, those who are doubting that it is there. It's for any innovation, we know it's like this, and it is at this stage that we need to do the advocacy. So this is also driving what we are doing. Next. Okay, so some use cases next. One of the things we have been working on is the use of big data for GDP nowcasting. We have been working with a few countries to see how we can use these data that Google is publishing. I think they are called Google Trend, which are the researches that people are doing in a country on a specific topic. So Google is publishing it, and you know that you can get a lot of information on based on what people are asking. When everybody is asking about earthquake, you know that maybe it's an earthquake that happened in the country. When everybody is looking at prices, maybe they have a problem with inflation. So there's a lot of information there that we think we can use, and we have invited some experts from India and other countries to show us how they are using these Google data to do the nowcasting or GDP and what is the quality. And if the quality is good, we are going to try to promote it in other countries. So next. We have also been using at the United Nations artificial intelligence to produce what we call a system of economic accounts. When we say a system of accounts, it's different from just a set of indicators because these indicators are linked by some identities. If you produce them independently, they will be inconsistent. You need to produce them together in matrices like social accounting matrices, GDPs. So these are multiple indicators where you will have to query different domains also, like environmental accounting, you know, there's economy inside. There is, I don't know, other science, natural science, there is social science. So you are at the mixing different science that are not using sometimes the same nomenclatures, are not using the same terminology, and it's very complex to take data from different domains to combine them and arrive at these accounts. That's why national accounts is particularly difficult for those who are statisticians. And there was an attempt to solve this problem of integrating different domain knowledge, different nomenclature using artificial intelligence, and we call it RES for the system of economic and environmental accounting. So it was one of the earliest applications of artificial intelligence that we have done in national account. It was done by the United Nations Statistical Division, actually a university from Italy, and then it was promoted by the United Nations Statistical Division. So next. We have also been interested in the capacity of what we call a large language model to understand very complex patterns, because sometimes we are looking for the computer price index of different national statistic office, and some are not going to publish them in a CSV file that is easy to read. Sometimes you'll find it in a PDF document. So we are thinking, can artificial intelligence help us download the CSV, read the document and extract the indicator? And you know, it's a very complex. This is just an example of how it was presented. Visually, it's very nice, but for a program, this is a big challenge. How can a program understand all these things and know that 41% is two-year inflation, 35% is this and this? This also, we are testing the capacity of artificial intelligence to figure out very complex graphs like this and be able to give a reliable indicator so that we don't need to read manually a PDF. We just feed it in our process and it will extract the indicators, and we will have no more problem that we can't access the data in machine readable formats. Next. We are also working on web scraping. So I don't need to mention a lot because it was already mentioned by Therese. Web scraping is a potential area of interest. We are using big data to estimate spatial distribution of poverty, well-being, and socioeconomic indicator. This also, I believe it was mentioned by Ghana. So these are things that they are doing. We are also looking at it, and we know that there is a lot of potential there, and we are trying to promote it next. Next slide. So we have done a webinar where we have shown that we can use indeed this satellite imagery to have a good proxies for well-being, for health, and so on and so on. But these are very preliminary results. We have not scaled them to countries like other countries. So if there are some countries who are really doing it well, maybe we will partner with them and promote it. And then in terms of also looking at the capacity of National Statistical Office, we have conducted a survey, a questionnaire where we are asking them your vision, what are your challenges, how do you see the integration of data science in your National Statistical Office? Do you think you have the material? Do you think you have the skills? And we have analyzed the survey. We have the results that you have published that are very useful for us to know how we should help National Statistical Office. Next slide. Then we have also supported, it was also with National Statistical Institute of Rwanda, and there is the UN datathon last year. I think the Ghanaian also from Ghana, they know because it was a winner of the competition. This was a great experience for us. It was an opportunity really to bring the young national statisticians, young data scientists to get interested in data science, to compete and to have innovative solutions. We have had these prizes, which is very great, but we also have so many proposals on how we can use data to solve problems, and we are going to see which one we can promote. This is also a very great experience. Next. We have also been testing, still in the large language model, how we can use a chatbot. It was mentioned a lot of time, but here we want to take a chatbot and try to fine-tune it as a tutor for national account, for environmental accounting, because you know the books on national account, when you take it, it's 500 pages, it's 1,000 pages. You don't want to go through this book and read everything. So maybe if you have a tutor that you can ask, instead of going through the document, and if the tutor is reliable, it is very helpful for learning. So we have tried to use this concept. We have done the presentation at the International Association for Official Statistics. Next slide. Okay, this is just the presentation. Next. So what we have tried to do is to combine what we call the chatbot with what we call a graph, a knowledge graph. A knowledge graph is a graph that links different concepts in ways that is more intuitive to people, because this is the way people think. People think in terms of network, in terms of relation between entities. They are not thinking in terms of tables like statistician like. So if you can have a chatbot where you ask a question about specific topic like global warming, I want to know how we measure global warming, what are the key indicators, it will give you the answer. But at the same time, it is going to look at the knowledge graph to see what are the concepts that are linked to global warming that you might be interested in. And this is going also to present this interest. It is going to say, okay, maybe you will be also interested to know about what is happening in the ocean. Maybe you'll be interested in what is their impact on the level of water, and so on and so on. So this knowledge graph have also a lot of potential in helping a person to navigate through knowledge. So we have tried to combine the two, the capacity of the chatbot and the power of the knowledge graph to help people learn at their own rhythm. Next. Okay, next slide. So concerning the challenges also, there are some studies that were done at the United Nations. This was done by the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe. As I have already mentioned, we are official statisticians. We are supposed to be trusted, and we should put professionalism in everything we are doing. So if a model we have not tested it and very reliable, we normally don't have the right to tell people you can use it. It's like a doctor or pharmacy. If you have a new product, you really need to test it to make sure that it is safe, because you can tell user this product, you can use it. And we are official statisticians. We guarantee the quality of the data. So we are very cautious on using machine learning model. First, we need to make sure that they align with our business needs. This was already said before. There is a need to show that they have demonstrated value added. It is a challenge to tell people what is the value added of what we are doing, but this we can prove. Then there is a scientific ground also. You know, even for big data, there was so much debate about whether we can use big data in official statistics or not, because statisticians they use sampling to compute reliability, confidence interval, and when you are using big data, you are not doing sampling. So how do you compute the reliability of your data? Is it really a scientific method that people like official statisticians can tell the public, yes, you can trust this data? These debates are ongoing. Then there is, of course, the ethical and legal considerations. Many countries don't want their data to go on external servers. As we don't have the computing power in the countries, most of these big models are outside. So when you send your data to analyze it, you are sending your data outside the country. What is the legal basis? Sometimes it is forbidden. So this is a big problem also that we will need to find. How can we find a model where we can do privacy preserving data science, where we don't have to send confidential data to us. If are we going to anonymize the data maybe, or are we going to find a decentralized way where some processing is done at the country or not there? This, we are thinking about it, and we are trying to find the solution. At the same time, we are trying to convince people that the legislation also should be adapted, because sometimes the legislation is very restrictive and it doesn't allow people to use data that are very useful for statistics. For example, mobile data. Some countries do not allow you to use them because of the confidentiality. Then there is a question of the performance over time. We need to make sure that really these models are consistent over time. They are not going to do catastrophic forgetting. They are not going to do hallucination. There are all these things that are worrying people, and we need to test the model and make sure that we don't have this problem before, as official statisticians, we can tell them, okay, you can use it. And then, of course, there's a quality framework. So next slide. Okay, next. Another thing, among the solutions, we have tried to use the same idea as a data maturity model, where we can estimate the level where a National Statistical Office is in terms of data maturity, and make it a big data or artificial intelligence maturity. This is one approach that we have been trying. Many other organizations have been trying it also. We didn't arrive with a perfect model, but it's good to know that we are trying to see which is the best maturity model. How do we measure the maturity of a national statistics system? And based on the level of maturity, what kind of capacity, what kind of recommendation are we going to give them? This is also part of the work we are doing. Next. We have tried to identify some key areas where we can build data science and statistical capacity in Africa. And the key areas that we have identified, first is having better maturity model. As I mentioned already, maturity model as a tool that will allow us to know where you are as national statistical system. And if you know where you are, you know where you are coming from, then you know where you should go. So it's very useful for us because we have very few resources. We need to put our resources where they are the most effective. So this is why we want better maturity model. The infrastructure, very important also. If you don't have the capacity to run a large language model in your premises, then you will have to use a large language models that are on the cloud. So you are sending your data on the cloud, and you might be violating some regulations of your country. So it's good to have your infrastructure for your data that are really private. You have to process them in your premises. Then there is a public-private arrangement. Now we are using more and more some public data, private data. We used to use public data, censuses and survey, but now we are using, for example, the data from a mobile phone company to produce official statistics. Imagine that we are relying on 2 or 3 or major data provider, a big telephone company that you are using every year to produce our GDP. And imagine that this company goes in bankruptcy, or it refuses to give the data. Suddenly it will be a big disruption in the production of reliable data. So these are challenges for us. We are trying to see which kind of arrangement we will find with the private sector so that we don't run into this risk. There's also the risk of confidentiality. And finally, the law and regulation also, we are promoting data, artificial intelligence strategy. For the countries that have the strategies, they already know that they need to modify the rules of the regulation to be ready for AI. But other countries are not at this level. So we are trying to do the advocacy for people to know that the laws also have to evolve. And next slide. Then there is a need for training and human resources. Many national statistical offices have mentioned it. They need the skills, they need the competencies in order to be able to run some models. So this is also a challenge. What is the mix? What is a good mix of competencies that the National Statistical Office need? We don't know it because it is new for us. The other thing is the data set and the code. You can't do data science if you don't have training data. This is a big problem. Sometimes you don't have training data that you want to use to train a model. So it's good if you can make available a lot of data sets and codes. For example, you have mentioned this occupational coding, I think, or data linking. But if you can make the data that you have used available to people in open source, maybe you will see that the community of data science will be able to use it and develop even better linkage code or better, better models that will be useful for you. So it's good that we share the data so that many people can work with a large data set, and then we'll be able to make more progress in terms of the models. Then there is trust building and quality control. This is a core mandate of a national statistical system. We need to have the trust of the public. We need to have the trust to do the quality control of data and tell them it is good. And you know that with artificial intelligence, the fake, it's easy to do some fake. You can do fake image, you can do fake video, you can do fake news. You can even, I think there are even some bots that are on the internet. Their only role is to propagate fake news. If something happens, they'll automatically write a story. It's completely false. So we have a serious challenge in terms of how are we going to maintain trust? How are we going to do quality control and avoid this fake, this modern fake, mode of fake. This we are also going to work on it and see how, as national statistical system, we are not going to be overwhelmed by the fake news, the fake image, and fakes, so that we have trust. People still trust us as a data provider. And finally, there is international cooperation. We need to work together. For the data, we have already mentioned that if we share our source, if we share our data set, we can do things together. If we also work together to have common regulation, to learn from each other, all these things are very important. So collaboration is one of the things. The solution also, we need to collaborate to find the solution, to push people to have artificial intelligence strategies that are harmonized across the continent or even across the world, so that things are easy. So this is the end, I think. Next, this would be the end of the slide. So this is roughly what we have been working on at the level of ECA in terms of data science and artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isufu. That was fantastic. We will move on quickly to a panel that will be led by Mr. Omar Saidu. I would like to invite Mola to join the panel with Therese, Kwamina, and Sarah. Omar will be moderating. Omar Saidu is the head of social and demographic statistics and the coordinator of data for SDGs at the Ghana Statistical Service. He's got over 25 years of experience and is recognized for his expertise in survey sampling, demographic statistics, and data innovation. Omar leads efforts to strengthen Ghana's statistical systems, focusing on multi-stakeholder approaches, partnerships, and effective use of data for sustainable development. He also plays a very pivotal role in monitoring progress towards the SDGs. Omar has led his team in creating various innovations with regard to these technological applications and innovations in that they work with partners to advance data and statistical production in Ghana. Welcome with me, Omar. Omar, please, you can take on this session. I think we've got about 20 minutes for this panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Victor, and thank you to GPSDD for putting together this webinar. It couldn't have come at any better time, especially given the fact that, as Prof. Enim indicated, we are faced with kind of an existential threat, and so there's the need for us as National Statistical Offices in Africa, in particular, to stand up to the task that we are faced with. I'm particularly happy listening to all the speakers that going through the challenges that we have, we have not been overtaken by these challenges. We have been able to surmount them. And key amongst these is the fact that none of the speakers actually mentioned financial resources as a challenge to our ability as National Statistical Offices to leverage AI, leverage machine learning and data science to do the work we're doing. So I would want us to look at it from this angle. Several challenges have been identified, And in many cases, we have gotten over them. And we have been able to produce a lot of stuff out of the work fantastic work that's been done in Kenya, in Rwanda, and in Ghana. I want to give each of you 2 minutes to highlight the biggest challenge that you had to overcome, without which the work you're doing today couldn't have happened. So I would want each of you to highlight. The reason why I want us to re-echo this is because many other African countries are staying back because of maybe the fear of something that you may have overcome. And so your ability to articulate that to them would recruit many more African countries to follow suit and leverage AI, leverage data science and machine learning to make data more available for development in their countries. So I would want to start with you, Therese, from the Rwandan Statistics Office, given the experiences, and of course, you seem to have been the pioneer among the colleagues on the continent. What was the biggest challenge that if you had not been able to overcome, you couldn't have gotten to where we are? And how did you actually get through that? Thank you. You have 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. That's quite a good question, but also hard to explain. Maybe I will not say the biggest because we had a lot of challenges, but one of them, I think, which was main, was the expertise, like lack of skills, lack of required skills. Because when we were hired in the office, we didn't have enough skills to do the job, yet we had to do the job because we were hired. So how we overcome that, it's around partnership. We learned when we need to know what we want to achieve, and then we learn who has done it before us, and then we can learn from their journeys, because sometimes they have made some mistakes, so we don't have to do them again. We can learn from their experience and then overcome. Yeah, back to you.
Thank you. Related to that is the issue you mentioned about working with academia to build the capacities. Was there any difficulty in overcoming that hurdle? And if there were, how did you overcome it?
No, because maybe background to that, we had the Ministry of ICT had issued a data revolution policy guiding all government agencies on how they can leverage available tools and harness them for big data analytics. So with that regulation, the government was helped in help the universities to come up with the right courses, right modules, and it was easy between NSO and the universities to come up with the right modules to train the needed skills on the job market. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and definitely this is an important submission that other countries that might be facing this similar challenge may want to see your model and follow from that. Yeah, so I see that all 3 countries have mentioned administrative data as one of the areas where you have leveraged data science, machine learning. So I go to my colleague, Sarah from Kenya. Administrative data is one data source that virtually every country, especially on the continent, have access to. So what would you say was your biggest challenge in leveraging machine learning, data science, and artificial intelligence in linking up survey data with administrative data, and especially doing the data quality? And so how did you surmount these challenges? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Omar. Okay, I will start by saying Kenya National Bureau of Statistics has not been having so much challenges when it comes to access to administrative data, because majorly our economic survey, which is a document we produce each and every year, is published from administrative data. Now, linking administrative data with survey data, the major challenge, of course, there is the technology, because you find that most of this administrative data, the collection method and the survey data collection method is totally different. And then at that point, you will realize that you even don't have much skills when it comes to also linking the data. So number one, it's the technology, because both data sets are collected differently. And number two, it's now the skills. Because now when you're merging this data from different sources, and they are being collected differently, and they are being collected for different purposes, then again, you'll need more skills to get to understand the data sets and also to link the data. So those have been the two major challenges. Now, how to overcome? Of course, now, number one is capacity building. For example, last week, but one, we had UN Women facilitating on how to link data from gender data from administrative records with the data, gender data, which we've collected from our surveys. So that is now one of the ways which we have been able to build capacity to make sure that we are able to have the skills which we need to link the data. About the technology and how the two data sets are being collected and stored, and different methodologies of collecting the data, that is still a continuous challenge. And to overcome that, you have to work together with the stakeholders who are the source of the data, of the administrative data. So even during this capacity building process, if we are doing for gender, we also have to bring on board the stakeholders who are dealing with gender data from NSS, so that at the end of the day, we get to understand and be in the same at the same skill level, so that at least at the end of the day, the data can communicate to each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. So now, yes, it's important, as indicated by virtually all partners, that collaborations have been one of the key drivers of your successes. So I came to Kwamina from Ghana. How have you been able to manage the collaborations between the National Statistical Office and the other stakeholders, to the extent that you are able to achieve what you have achieved? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this question. GSS lives strongly on collaboration, and I would say that collaboration is in two folds: internal within government agencies, within private sector, within GSS. GSS tend to build a very strong collaboration, and the initial approach that has been even during the days of traditional or still traditional data collection activity, that now we want to complement with data science tools. What we've done is that anytime we want to do some surveys in previous years, what we've been doing is to get in touch with these agencies. So for instance, if you're doing something on DHS, we're doing something on MIX, we're doing something on any other project, what we do most often is to engage them as subject specialists. So when there's a window of engagement, proud to be getting into the times of data science. So, and then in the process, we also had the opportunity to build what we call the National Statistical Systems, that then brings most agencies together. In this case, like, we already have one leg with them. We have a transition from the usual survey, come and help us to understand policy direction so we can get the data for you. And then we go further to get engaged with them, the NSS system. And then with that, we realize that this collaboration is there. And in recent time, to cement this collaboration and ensure that we can make optimal use of our collaboration, a good effort has started doing more sensitization and a memorandum of understanding that is now being signed between all MMNDs to ensure that data production feed into the National Statistical Systems, which GSS is the lead agency in terms of gathering and collating and analyzing and publishing it. So locally, we made that strong effort. So we want to say that we achieved so much trying to beat them, let them know what we have, we can give in return, and we've been successful with that. Aside the internal, within country, we also have a lot of collaboration with international agencies. As my earlier presentation pointed to, we work with Statistical Denmark that gives us a lot of opportunity on training and collaborating on other use case projects. We have a lot of opportunity learning and also producing core detail record statistics by working with Flowminder, who I would say they were more or less our pioneer, and Silman will agree with me that he was also pivotal in this engagement, that we have to sail through another cardinal area in terms of engaging a private sector, which is a telcos, to sign memorandum of understanding to give us access to metadata, not the actual cores, for us to produce more core detail record statistics, produce statistics based on core details. So basically, we have been able to engage and leverage on these agencies by one, leveraging on what we can offer as an institution and what they intend also gain from us when we do the engagement. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kwamina. Yeah, so this time I go to Yusuf. Yusuf Seidu. And given where you are and the engagements that you have at that level, what do you see as the biggest challenge that NSOs may be encountering if they have to build collaborations with local, IT companies, local companies that may have the capacity to support National Statistical Offices with data science and AI capabilities?
Well, thank you. It's an interesting question. From the perspective and experience that we have, the biggest challenge will be the rules and regulation. National Statistical Officer, they have a mandate of the government and they have a confidentiality issue. They are not institutions that would like the data to go with other people who don't have the same level of control on them, who don't have the same level of responsibility. There are rules of confidentiality. So the data sharing mechanism, really, we need to find the solution. How can we share data with the private sector while making sure that the confidentiality is preserved? It's very sensitive for national statistical system. You can have even lose jobs because you have let some confidential data leak. We know we have this kind of scandals all the time. So for the private sector also, when you are working with a private company, they can send you the data to do your statistic, but there are also problems with them because they are for profit. And they don't want this data to go in the hand of their competitors. So maybe we need to guarantee also that we are going to protect the confidentiality of your data. But how can you guarantee that you protect the confidentiality of the data if you don't even have the infrastructure? They will say, okay, you are just saying that you can protect, but we see that you don't have the infrastructure that will allow you to protect our data. So there are these issues that are the biggest challenge, the regulation and the trust. We need to find mechanisms that will preserve trust and will follow the regulations. This is what we see from our viewpoint.
Thank you very much, Isifu. Well, Mola, UNECA has a big convening power within the continent, especially through the DGIS forum. And I believe that if we listen to the country's experiences, you can see that the vision and the leadership has been one of the key drivers for what they have been able to achieve. What would you see as an opportunity to have many more national statistical offices on the continent, especially at the level of the DGs, to drive data science, to drive the integration of data science, machine learning, and AI into the operations of the national statistical offices. Thank you.
Thank you, Omar. Thank you, organizers, for bringing me in this panel. ECA has a mandate to provide platform for conversation around statistics when it comes to the African Center for Statistics. ECA could provide leadership and coordination as mandated, and also using the platforms like the Statistical Commission for Africa to bring together the heads of statistics offices, other development partners, to discuss initially the advantage of bringing data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning to the statistics production processes. So we start with promoting the use and application of technology, data science, and big data. That is one. And also bringing pilot projects from, there is a saying that interest is created when you see the other significant others are doing or absorbing or embracing initiatives or innovative. So when it comes to statistical offices, the significant others are other member states. So we are seeing so many innovations are taking place in other parts of Africa. So ECA could bring and package these pilot projects innovations so that others take it up for in their particular and respective member states. And again, statistical offices need to create data science centers in their own. It could be called innovation centers, could be called big data centers or technology, but that innovation should be embraced and mainstreamed in the statistical offices. It's not development partners or other companies should lead innovation and change in the statistical offices. It should come within. So this is the kind of promotion and messages that ECA can provide through the platforms it has and through the mandate it has in terms of creating this platform and convening power. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mola. This is very important. And I do agree with you that this is a great platform that you have to showcase what is possible for NSOs within the continent to leverage this technology. Now, I know there are a lot of questions that we may have. So we would just briefly open up for a few questions, but all the panelists stay put to give me 30 seconds in one sentence what you think or what your advice would be to other NSOs on the continent in terms of what should interest them to get along, to come along and leverage data science, machine learning, and AI in their processes. So whilst you think of that, if we have any hand up, then we can take that. So the participants, if there are any questions for any of the presenters for the session that was previously moderated by Victor Hurugu, then, or maybe the earlier ones, then you have an opportunity to ask it at this time. Okay, I don't see any. Victor, can you help me with this?
Okay, I can see Sufu's hand up. I'm also quickly checking the back end, but Isufu's hand is up.
Yeah, Isufu, please, you have the floor.
Okay, thank you. There is something that I didn't hear come, but is the proliferation of fake data, fake news, and fake everything. So, you know, you have these models that can create fake. Is it a problem for NSOs now, or are you not being challenged for now? I just would like to know. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I believe our NSO colleagues on the panel may want to respond to that, but before then, Victor, you also have a question. You have your hand. Yes.
Thank you so much, Omar. I was also wondering across all the presenters, you know, how, just to hear a bit more about how are you recruiting staff, you know, for your data science division. You know, I know how difficult it can be to recruit staff from the outside on issues like data science, AI, into the public sector space. Most of them want to go work with private sector. How are you dealing with this? I want to hear, you know, from you. Particularly, I know Ghana has a way in which they did recruit staff. The second quick question is, how are you handling this change management that is happening across your institution? This movement from what has really been very traditional to very new innovations, you know, in technology. Thank you.
So thank you very much. So yes, so I would want to pass on these two questions to the panelists, especially the NSO colleagues on the panel. Any of you can take a bite at any of the two questions that are.
Okay, let me start by addressing the fake news, fake data concerns. People choose what to consume, and there is so much fake data, as you have said, and at the end of the day, sometimes fake is trendy, and people like it because it's also somehow added some extra information which makes it to trend faster than real data. So when it comes to fake and real data, always what I always tell people, especially those who call and inquire about the data from the sources which they get from, I always refer them to the legit data. And there is nothing you can do when it comes to controlling what people consume because it's readily available, it's all over. But then the only thing you can do is now when you get the opportunity to engage them, you can try to refer them to where they can get real data, good quality data, and that way you will have help to them. Otherwise, you do not have much power because of social media and all that. Yes.
Thank you, Sarah. Kwamina and Teresa?
Yes.
Let me take on the Victor's question on recruitment approach. I think GSS had a very novel way of getting this done. We started with collaboration, as we earlier indicated. And through the process, we had data science mentees or mentorship. Initially started with 6, and then the new set of recruitment was done to complement. And the good thing about what happened was that we already had an ODI fellow who had a stint with data science activity. So we also brought him on board to assist and train the team. But like I pointed out in the presentation, our training approach is learn and build. So as you are going through as you get onto the recruitment process, as well you learn on the project and build a project. And that really speed the process of learning, the learning curve, as well as making staff now be more competent in some project. So all our use case project that we have, what it was a deliberate effort that now we can easily know that based on the data science team, this member A or B is specialized when it comes to AI's data. This member 2 is specialized when it comes to admin data integrity. This staff is, but though we all have a core-based training, there's a code base that all of us can rely on. But out of developing the projects, we get people trained. So the initial recruitment was pick people within and then get them some mentorship. And then the process of mentorship
we don't overrely too much on the one mentoring who is coming from an external entity. And for now, I can say that most of our team members are now running projects and assisting other directors and units on their own with the capacity that have been learned through the process of build and then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Teresa, any addition to what Kwamina has said?
Maybe yes, if I start from where he said, I think even our approach is not much different from theirs. Recruitment is not a challenge yet, retention is. So yes, we make sure that new recruits learn while doing so. They are mentored. We also have ODI's team, so we have fellows, we have other partnerships, we have placement from the academia. So we have people to train new recruits, but then but we faced now the turnover, which is very high. But now how we are managing that, we are trying to make sure that each project we do, it's well documented so that whoever comes after, because you will never stop people to go, but at least you make sure that whatever you do, it's well commented so that whoever replaces finds his way out without needing to contact the people who have already left. So I wanted also to come to how we are handling change management. Yeah, change management is real, and maybe we don't have one solution fits all, but how we are navigating that journey is we make sure that we sit together. So like data scientists work closely with other departments. So first of all, we do what they normally do, and then we learn with them what are the current challenges, and then explore together how data science or any other technology can help solve current challenges. I think it's helping us. Even the adoption, the awareness is happening. And last year, we even did intentionally an awareness internally to all staff to tell them what are the benefits that come with big data, what are the benefits that are coming with technology, for people to understand why we are here and how they can leverage that time we have for them. Yeah, back to you.
Thank you very much, Teresa. Yeah, so panelists, and let me start with Mula from UNECA. In 30 seconds, what would you tell other NSOs on the continent?
Okay. Thank you, Omar. NSOs need to build leadership in data science. I think it should start from leadership in data science. That is key. The understanding should come from the top. When that is ascertained, then resources can be mobilized, and staffs are motivated, and things would be easier to go. And one critical area that NSOs should really look at is data access. The data they are looking up to is not owned by them. It's owned by big tech companies, mobile operators. So data access is a very critical area that needs to look into. It then goes to technology and infrastructure. It is very difficult to build an infrastructure, especially AI infrastructure at the NSO as we speak now, based looking into the resources, our capacities. We need to collaborate with tech companies, mobile operators, so that we can leverage their infrastructure to experiment. And finally, they need to start small, something specific, and showcase what we call the art of the possible. Then that we can build from there. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Mula. Isifu Sedu, what advice do you have for NSOs on the continent?
Well, I think the advice to add to what Mula is saying is to understand actually what is the role of artificial intelligence and data in the national statistical process, because we need to find the value added and to prove that there is a value added in using data science, that's where we can convince people to give us the resources. So this is important to come back to the maturity model. We need to look at our statistical processes, statistical business process model. We know we have a lot of activities, collection, compilation, dissemination, which are the part of these processes where there's a lot of value added in using data science, and then which are the part of this data processes where for the time being, it is not going to make a big difference to use data science. And in the long term, we know that it's a disruptive technology, maybe even the processes will change. So all this is part of the maturity model. We need to understand this thing. That's when we will know the best way we can use data science and artificial intelligence.
Yeah, so Kwamina from Ghana, what would you tell your other colleagues from other NSOs on why they need to come on board?
Two things is very critical, like in your earlier introduction, it's an essential trait. So either you go with us or you are left behind, and no one needs to be left behind. So all of us should be on board and let's focus and make this dream a bigger dream for Africa. And lastly, I also want to sell out to the continent leaders on big data, data science, and machine learning that let's also help to build a good repository, a database that we can use as more a good machine learning with machine learning material that we can build things of our own in Africa. NSOs, I mean, National Statistical Offices in Africa are best positioned to provide this data that can best structure for machine learning activity. For other algorithms, it can easily be done as long as we have a good and quality data. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Theresa?
What I can say, I agree with other public-private partnership is very key on this journey, but also I want to assure colleagues from the region, sometimes we attend meetings such as this one or others, and maybe some have the fear of feeling that they are left behind, or some countries have been very much advanced, which is not right, because as maybe some of us sit on some global discussions, this is a journey. Maybe some countries have started exploration, but it's not yet too late for a country to start. So I call every NSO to start small, consider their context, and then find a priority where to start, but then it's never too late. So let's not stay behind.
Thank you very much. Let's not stay behind. Sarah?
Thank you so much. I think most of the advices have been given by my colleagues, but I would like to add one or two. First of all, it's a journey they don't want to take alone. So this is a journey which is going to include, or they should include stakeholders, because you have to get this data you're going to use from stakeholder skills and everything. So they have to embrace partnerships and collaborations and work closely with the stakeholders. The other thing is they have to be relevant within their context. Don't look at Kenya and want to be like Kenya. Don't look at Ghana and want to be like Ghana. Look at you as an organization where you are and what you want to achieve. Be relevant within your context and you will achieve much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This has been a wonderful learning platform. I believe you will all agree with me. And what I take away from this is the fact that UNECA, with the platform they have, would leverage it to help build leadership in data science in the continent, to get the heads of NSOs to appreciate the value addition that this brings, and also to leverage partnerships to take advantage of existing infrastructure, because we may not have what it takes to build a new infrastructure to do this. So on this note, I think this is the point where I would hand over to Lynette Kamboka, Senior Manager at Data at GPSDD, responsible for data for now, to conclude this meeting for us. Thank you very much, panelists, and wonderful hosting you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, Lynette is also closing a meeting now. So let me just quickly close this meeting. I want to really deeply thank you all, particularly together with the ECA. Thank all our speakers, from Oliver Chingaya to Prof. Sam Enim, to Samuel Free, to, of course, Chief himself, Omar Seidu, to Mola Asmari, to all our country, partners, Therese, Wimana, Sarah, and Dudan, Kwamina, as well, and Isufu. Thank you so much for the excellent remarks and the presentations that you all made. And of course, we want to appreciate our audience who have stayed on long. We've spent over an hour over the allotted time for this webinar. So sorry that, some time was wasted somewhere along the line, but I'm sure it wasn't a waste at all. But, we did learn a lot. We would manage the time, pretty much better subsequent webinar. My colleagues will post a webinar survey, post-webinar survey right now to you all, or immediately we, stop, this webinar. You'll get, the surveys posted to you. I would like to encourage you to please engage with it and help us send your responses back in. Like I said, this is a series of webinars that we started. We're hoping that in November, late November, there will be one webinar that will be focused on bringing in Tableau. Tableau will be working with us and a couple of NSOs in the continent to discuss how public institutions can use data insights to drive policy and development decisions. They are also keen on how do you use this data insight for addressing today's challenges while also preparing for tomorrow's. So please, stay connected. Tableau would provide a masterclass during that particular webinar on how to create data insights and visualization. They are bringing another partner of theirs called Crossroads that would empower participants on how to create powerful dashboards, using various sustainable development use cases. And we would also hear from some NSOs in terms of the work that they are doing in developing data communication within their environment. We'll be sending you details later, but please stay connected. Thank you, everyone, for staying with us. Thank you to our panelists, to our speakers, and I would, bring the meeting to an end. Muthoni, I don't know whether you want to say anything about the survey.
Nothing to add, just that we look forward to hearing from you and for your feedback. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. See you next time late in November.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ruby.
Bye.
Thank you.